An Adams Division matchup from Montreal. An emphasis on defense was the norm during the 80s in a black and blue Adams Division. Known for a grinding style of play, the Adams was not the place for a freewheeling, offensive-minded hockey player. To play in the Adams, you needed a strong heart, a head up, and a road map out of the corners. That was then. This is now. MVP candidate Pat LaFontaine. Alexander McGillney, one of the league's best, 62 goals to lead the league. Vincent Damphousse, Stéphane Lebeau, and Kurt Muller. The 90s version of the Flying Frenchman. The Canadiens, #1 again. ESPN's National Hockey Night from the Forum in Montreal, Canada. Tonight, the Buffalo Sabres come to town to take on the Canadiens. Hello, everybody. Gary Thornton, delighted to have you with us. These two teams played last night in Buffalo. Montreal came away with a 6-4 win, but in the final seconds of play, they ended up with some fighting majors. They weren't the first in that game, and it may set the tone for tonight. Neither team is happy with the way it ended last night. That kind of play we're used to seeing in a black and blue Adams division. And our own Jim Schoenfeld with Buffalo and with the Boston Bruins used to play in this Adams division. And when it came to going to the corners, Jimmy put a few people in and made them part of the boards. Jim Schoenfeld is with us now. It's a lot easier, more to say, less to do, and less black and blues. Jimmy, this has been that kind of division.
I'm just thrilled they found some color footage of my career. I thought it was all in black and white.
Well, that's half your career right there.
Yeah,
I
guess it is. That's right. They're the highlights, running people into the boards. It has been a very close checking defensive division. It seemed the best defensive team, the team that could grind it out the most, was the team that emerged victorious out of the Adams division. However, that team failed to go on to win Stanley Cups. Thus, the transition to a flowing offensive style of play. Buffalo has made the transition with LaFontaine and McGillney, and the Canadiens have made it. They've acquired some players, Bellows, Damphousse, certainly Kirk Muller has helped in that. The defensemen are getting more involved. Teams realize they have to score goals, play sound defensively, but they have to score goals if they're going to win the Stanley Cup.
Well, Jimmy, sometimes the numbers don't bear up the things that we like to think are happening. In this case, they do, as the light has been lit in the Adams division more than ever in the past by a couple of teams, one of which you would not expect. For the Buffalo Sabres, they have moved from 8th last year in scoring to 1st in the National Hockey League at 4.39. But who would have believed the Montreal Canadiens would be part of the top 6? Well, they are. #6 overall in the league in offense. And tonight, these two teams go against one another, a great twosome. LaFontaine and McGillney against the #1 team in the National Hockey League right now, the Canadiens. The face-off when we come back. Jack, it's yours.
All right, thanks very much, Gary Thorne. And with Tom Mees getting a rare Saturday night off, I'm lucky enough to be in the seat along with the usual cast, Al Morganti, Bill Clement. And gentlemen, we find these two teams at opposite ends of the playoff standings in the Adams division. If the season were to end today, yes, it'd be Montreal against Buffalo in the first round. And the Sabres trying to make up ground on the Bruins. And as for the Canadiens, well, they have the top overall record in the National Hockey League. Their 39 wins lead the league, and that's a club with a lot of smiles on their faces.
They're dangerous, very dangerous right now. They're dangerous because they're happy. Why are they happy? Well, not only are they winning, but now this year under Jacques Demers, they're encouraged to join the offense. Last year, Pat Burns said, you got to play more defensive hockey. If you've ever had to play a sport as a kid and you had to practice without the puck or the football or basketball to get in shape, you know how boring it is. That's what it's like playing defensive hockey. As soon as the puck is introduced into what's happening out there, you get happy as an athlete. And Montreal Canadiens are like all other hockey players. They're just big guys that act like kids a lot, and they're happy because they're being encouraged to play offense, the defensemen as well as the forwards.
Well, on the other side of it, Al, you have Buffalo, and they're 4 points behind Boston going into tonight's game. And for them to make up ground, they're going to have to go against all current trends.
All current trend says they should play every game at home in Buffalo because on the road, the Sabres are simply a different hockey team, alarming the difference in record. But notice the power play rank. That's top to bottom, first to last in power play. And of those 9 wins on the road, 3 at Hartford and 1 tie at Hartford. And when you even focus down a little bit more to what they've done against Montreal in the past, the last 4 seasons, including this season, 3 wins in Montreal. So that's a really tough thing to overcome. But with Grant Fuhr in goal now, they can play a different style. They can pinch in a little. They can take some chances. They can become more offensive on the road. They can make mistakes with Grant Fuhr and have him cover up behind them.
All right, so the Sabres against the Canadiens, that's tonight's matchup on National Hockey Night, and we have got a great night of action coming your way. At first, we'll look back to this day's action in the league. It began at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And yes, Cam Neely making his return known in Boston. Stick around. Big day of action already on the ice, and we begin our quick look around the league in Detroit with the Blackhawks visiting the Red Wings. Dirk Graham going around Tim Shovelday and scoring, and the Blackhawks win it 2-1, solidifying their hold on first in the North. Washington and Boston, this is in sudden death. Cam Neely with the hit. Puck goes over into the corner. Adam Oates feeds Vladimir Ruzicka, and Rosie knocks it in, and the Bruins win 5-4 sudden death. Islanders against Philadelphia. Steve Thomas waiting and going off the water bottle for the score. Islanders win it 3-2. And Tampa Bay against Pittsburgh. The Penguins have won only one of their last 7. Rob Zamner beating Tom Barrasso, and they get out of it with a 3-3 tie. Here's some of the other action today. The Devils beating Ottawa, and Quebec already up on Hartford 3-0 in the first period at the Colisée. Still to come on National Hockey Night, Bill Clement's analysis of the Montreal Canadiens and that young, hungry defense of theirs. Stay with us.
National Hockey Night is brought to you by the Discover Card. It pays to discover, the card that pays you back. And by Sports Cream, fast pain relief and no odor.
Well, the Whalers are on the board at Quebec. That game's now 3-1. Let's take a look at tonight's National Hockey League schedule. And the Rangers continuing their Alberta road trip up in Edmonton tonight. They had to settle for a tie in Calgary last night. Bill Clement, the Montreal defense. What do you make of it?
They're young, they're not that big. They almost have to play offense because they can't grind it out playing defense, but they got great mobility and they're encouraged to get in the play. I'll show you what I'm talking about. This play involves J.J. Daigneault. He's in good position defensively, but watch, Montreal are just going to dump the puck around the boards. What does he do right away? He peels over here to become an offensive guy, at least in his own end. Now, smart play here by the left winger on the side. You see him, he sees Daigneault coming, so what does he do? Pulls out of the zone to give Daigneault room to come up the board. So smart play up front. Daigneault stops here. He just tries to make a play across, and he makes the play, and it looks like it's going to be simple 2-on-2 for the Oilers in this play. But watch, see Daigneault up on the play. That's Jacques Demers style. Get up to the play. Look how far in he goes, right to the crease. Doesn't come to him, but here's what I'm talking about, mobility. Check this out. He's already skating backwards. He's got a 20-foot lead on this guy. He's pulling out of the zone. No sweat at all. So it's because of the skating ability and the mobility. And here his defense partner comes back and covers for him. But it's because of those assets, even though they are small, that they can compete in this league, and they compete offensively.
Well, if there are two guys who can make those youngsters sweat, they are Pat LaFontaine and Alexander McGillney, and we're going to see those guys skating tonight. Let's send it back up to the Forum. The Buffalo Sabres getting set to meet the Montreal Canadiens. Gary Thorne and Jim Schoenfeld have the play-by-play from the Forum.
Jack, thank you very much. We are back at the Forum where the entire crowd and teams are standing in a moment of silence for the voice of the Canadiens for 32 years, Danny Gallivan.
Fired it wide. Carbonneau passing it in front. Landon couldn't get it. Here's Ryan going in on goal. Pass it right in front. They score!
He passed away yesterday at the age of 75, and for a young man growing up in Maine who loved hockey, every Saturday night it was hockey night in Canada. The voice I grew up with was Danny Gallivan. He loved hockey, and hockey loved him. He is really going to be missed. All right, goaltenders tonight. Grant Fuhrer will be in net for the Sabres. He was in goal last night. You see his record. That's his record this season with Buffalo. And at the other end, the man who's among the top 5 in all categories, Patrick Roy, will make the start. He also played last night. They finished the game with fights at the 20-minute mark. It may carry over to this game. Pat LaFontaine against Kirk Muller in the face-off, and we are underway. It'll be sent in deep, and immediately Haller dumps Schmelik at center ice. Cleared around to Himmelhoff. The Canadiens and Buffalo. They don't need to have back-to-back games to get it on. When they do have back-to-back games, it's just that much more exciting. We're underway. Mike Keane sends it in. Grant Fuhrer going to the corner for it. LeClaire, John LeClaire out on this line with Kirk Muller. Haller got it, trying to hold it in, could not, as it was bounced, and the face-off will come outside the blue line.
Sabre coach John Muckler adjusting his lines a little bit. We see LaFontaine starting without his partner Alexander McGillney. And from the Montreal perspective, they think LaFontaine is the more dangerous of the two because the line of Muller, Keane, and Leclerc, the line that shut them down so well at even strength in last night's game, is out against the LaFontaine line right now with Himmelev and Presley.
Jacques Demers' Montreal Canadiens, with a victory last night, have 39 wins on the season. They are ahead of the Pittsburgh Penguins for the #1 record. Most points gained in the National Hockey League. Rogers got it, sends it ahead. Canadiens will control. A very patient Montreal Canadiens team will make very few mistakes. They wait for the turnovers, and when they do, they've got the offensive weapons to put it up on the board. Himmelev coming. He's got LaFontaine with him. Presley also on this line. Going back to get it, Patrick Waugh just left it in behind the net for, and Donnelly could not get a piece of it. Cleared through center. On the near side, in alone will be Bellows. Bellows tied up. Bellows, Sutton centered, knocked away by Bodger, and a penalty coming up. And a power play will be coming up for the Montreal Canadiens.
Brian Bellows keeps his legs going. He gets a little better body position on Sabre defender Ken Sutton. And as he drives to the net, you'll see Sutton gets the stick in here. Bellows keeps driving his legs, gets a little bit in front, and Sutton has to hold the stick out for the hook. And that's the key to this Montreal team, Gary. They keep skating, whether they're on the rush or whether they dump it. The stick came up, caught Bellows in the face, and for that, the Canadiens are granted their first power play.
And did not take long to get there. 1:01 is the time of the penalty. Jacques Demers' team will go on the power play here, and a chance for the Canadiens to jump on top at home. The Montreal Canadiens are 23-8-2 in games at home against a Buffalo team that's only won 9 games on the road. They're 9-16-5 when they have been on the road. The power play for the Montreal Canadiens last season was 8th. This year they are at 18.4% effective. Not good here at home, though. They have never been a team that's relied on the power play to get it done. Damphousse in the corner, knocked away, controlled by Bellows. Bellows gets it back to Damphousse. Muller in front of the net. They have Lehman, Gary Lehman working back, and a point score! Damphousse dumped it in front. Bellows going by. 1-0 Canadiens.
As the play sets up behind the net, watch for Kirk Muller. He's going to come in and take 2 Sabre defenders out of the play. There's Bellows wide open as Schmelik and Bodger got caught with Kirk Muller to the left of the Sabre goaltender Fuhr. Out to Bellows, one times it under the pads of falling Grant Fuhr. You'll see Muller to the left of your screen, 2 defenders with him, and that leaves Bellows wide open. That's a familiar spot for Kirk Muller and a familiar role for Bellows.
And Bellows leads the Canadiens now with 12 power play goals, 27 goals on the season. Bellows in his first year with Montreal after 10 years at Minnesota. He's a 30-goal scorer in and out, and it's a 1-0 lead. It'll be played in. Grant Fuhr's got it. Grant Fuhr, last couple of games, has struggled a bit in net. Keep an eye on that tonight. Played a pretty decent game last night, but not the Grant Fuhr of old. The Canadiens putting the heat on. Todd Ewan moves in. Ewan got a good shot. Rebound. Fuhr makes the save off the blocker. Puck came to the side of the net. Keith Carney trying to get it out. Could not. Good pressure by the Canadiens. Grant Ledyard played it the corner to McGillney. McGillney coming 2-on-2. He's got Carney with him. McGillney looking. LaFontaine. LaFontaine! Deflected, did not get it on goal. Ray knocked it away. Turns, trying to get the shot off and can't. And the Canadiens will just clear it out. Sean Hill. Good pressure by Buffalo coming back the other way. Bellows picking up the goal. Damphousse and Desjardins got the assists on it. And we'll get a slashing call coming up away from the action. Pick it up when we come back. Jack, to you.
8 minutes and 19 seconds into the game. Quebec already had a 3-0 lead on Hartford. This is Matt Sundin turning Eric Weinrich inside out. Sean Burke has no chance on the backhand. It's now 3-1 Quebec.
Gary Thorne, Jim Schoenfeld, let you take a look at the league's leading scorer. There is Pat LaFontaine, who's moved ahead of Mario Lemieux.
That was the slash by Damphousse. Bodger wastes no time getting the puck in, getting on his horse. Both teams like their defensemen to join the rush, sometimes lead the rush, as Doug Bodger was doing there. When you get them involved, Good things can happen offensively. You get people out of position, they're going to have to pull you down, or as happened there, take a slashing penalty to slow the progress of Sabres' Doug Bodger.
And it'll be a slashing call. There you see the Buffalo power play. It's been where you are that matters, not who's on it. Amazing for Buffalo that had the best power play in the National Hockey League last year. To be 7th overall, you can live with that. But to be dead last on the road on your power play, that you can't live with. See what they do with it here against Montreal. Patrick Waugh able to clear it out of the zone. Hawerchuk will work back along the point here. They'll keep McGillney, of course, and Pat LaFontaine out there. Himmelev will come out. That's the normal line Butler has used this season, both on the power play and otherwise. McGillney leads them with 21 power play goals. There's Himmelev. Himmelev racing into the corner for it. Sean Hill was with him. Up to McGillney. McGillney looking. Hawerchuk has got the shot. LaFontaine. Bodger. Shot. Anderchuk. Keane took it, shaking his head. That hurt him. McGillney fanned on it. Desjardins trying to get it out. Cannot. It's held in. Mike Keane gets up. That shot shook him up. He stayed down for a moment. Bodger. Keane's up the top here on the defense. Shot by McGillney. Lug out. Ripped into the seats. Off the defenseman's stick. Eric Desjardins.
You watch the Montreal defenders. They play a very tight box, a very well-disciplined box. They give their opponents the point shot and quickly try to get in line with a shooter. Keane showing good courage, goes down to block a shot. Then after that, Desjardins gets a stick on, deflects a puck into the crowd. They're a very disciplined penalty-killing unit, and rarely will you see them running around in their own zone.
There you see the Montreal Canadiens bench. Kirk Muller heading back to the bench, working on the penalty-killing unit. They are 7th overall, the Canadiens, in killing them off, and they are 8th here at home. Montreal Canadiens have given Buffalo only 6 power play goals on the season in their previous games, 27 chances. Comes back to Hawerchuk. His shot deflected again in front to the corner. Himmelev had it with him, didn't know it. Bodger picks it up. Bodger moves it to the top. They set up with the umbrella shot. LaFontaine, wow, the save. LaFontaine in, scores! Pat LaFontaine, 1-1.
LaFontaine on the forehand. He snaps the shot, then follows the shot to the net. Oderline is too slow reacting to LaFontaine. He comes in and puts his own rebound home. Wastes no time snapping that shot. And you'll see Oderline just get caught half a step. And if you get Pat LaFontaine half a step, he's gone. Good scramble in front of the net. Gary, in last night's game, the Sabre power play accounted for half of the team's scoring chances. When they are on, they are deadly. The road record has not been good. I spoke with John Muckler about that. He's not overly concerned. He feels once the playoffs start, the players will give what they have to give. They'll pay the price they have to pay to make this thing work on the road. He feels he has very capable people, and it's just a matter of having to put out the same effort on the road as they do at home. He's confident once playoff time starts, they will do that.
Randy Wood sends it in. 40th goal of the season for Pat LaFontaine. He's picked up 16 of those on the power play, and the league's leading scorer has added another to his totals. LaFontaine now with 112 points. He's tied for 8th starting the night in goals, 2nd in the league in assists, and 1st in points. Mario Lemieux is due to come back next week. His radiation treatments will end on Tuesday. Adam Oates following right behind the pack. And had an interesting comment Mario Lemieux made at the All-Star game with Pat LaFontaine.
Well, Patty LaFontaine, he's jumped out into the scoring lead. Mario says, I'm going to spot you a little bit. And he said, I'm going to come back and I'm going to catch you. And Patty said, love to see it. Just like every other hockey fan would love to see Mario back on the ice.
We may see him back right here on ESPN next week at Madison Square Garden when Pittsburgh takes on the New York Rangers, because he may well come back next week as soon as he's finished up with that radiation treatment, which is going to end on Tuesday. Cleared ahead at center. It's nobody got it, and a Canadian down. DiPietro is down. Ewan takes the shot, and they'll have to come out and take a look. And now the fight starts on the far side. Gord Donnelly taking exception for the Buffalo Sabres, trying to put Ewan onto the bench. That's Todd Ewan, who's just getting back tonight after missing 3 games. And Gord Donnelly of Buffalo going at him. Now, we told you to pick up where it left off. Todd Ewan missing 3 games with muscle pulls in his back. coming back in the first period. This ain't going to help the back.
That's certainly not going to loosen it up, that's for sure. After the finish of last night's game, it's no surprise to see Ewan in the lineup. He is a legitimate league heavyweight, as is Gord Donnelly. Both guys had a good scrap there, and Donnelly's quite upset yet as he makes his way to the penalty box.
It has the potential to be that kind of night. Canadiens and Buffalo tied here at 1-1. Take a look along the boards.
There's Big Ewan coming in. I'm not sure where DiPietro gets hit. There's the stick coming up right there as Wood tried to go by him. Randy Wood dumped the puck along the boards, and he tried to skate past DiPietro. And this is the way the game ended last night. There's Leclerc and Rob Ray squaring off. They're the two goaltenders. Prior to that, Grant Ledgerd was with Vincent Dompoos and was taking advantage of him at that point in time. Sure came out of the, or I'm sorry. Oh, and Gord Donnelly's being ejected.
Gord Donnelly apparently is going to get an instigator call here on the fight. Todd Ewan is staying in the penalty box. So Donnelly has been lost to the Buffalo Sabres. We'll wait for the official call on that, but you can tell how he felt about it.
Well, this is purely accidental here. Wood is trying to get past DiPietro. Accident or not, when the tempers are high as they were to finish last night's game and start tonight's game, someone is going to make another pair pay the price. So Ewan's out. He knows what he's here for. He's got to make a physical presence for the Montreal Canadiens. And Gord Donnelly is a willing combatant. And it doesn't take much to get those two guys started in an altercation.
DiPietro got up and went to the bench being attended. One of the questions is whether any of the officials, and any of them, if they saw it, can tell the referee, the two linesmen can help him on that high sticking call. But I'm not sure anybody saw DiPietro get hit. We're going to have to wait here as the officials will confer amongst themselves and also with the captain, Jacques Demers, behind the bench. And there you see Don Koharski, the referee for this game, with Pierre Champoux and Gerard Gauthier. And as soon as they've decided, they'll make the announcements. We want to remind you, if you'd like a great basketball whack midnight snack tonight, we got one for you. Big basketball game, number 23 BYU against number 11 Utah. Taking a look at Josh Grant right there, who leads Utah in a matchup tonight. And there's why it's such an important game. Utah and BYU 14-1 with the overall records on the right. That's coming up at midnight right here on ESPN. Full house here, of course, at the Forum, as you would expect, but particularly for a game as important as this. And both these teams know that somebody else involved in the race in the Adams division, namely the Boston Bruins, came away with a victory today. So that matters to the standings and to the outcome of tonight's game. Let's check in with Jack Evans.
All right, Gary, the Flames putting the bite to San Jose pretty early. Al McInnes the blast from the point. Paul Ranheim turns and beats Wade Flaherty. 44 seconds in, it's Calgary 1-0 over San Jose.
The announcements on the penalties just being made now as the teams, especially Buffalo, unhappy with the call here because they clearly are going to get the short end of this. Last night, Buffalo came out in the first period in Buffalo and clearly established a physical game and outplayed Montreal, but had only a 2-0 lead. The second period, they couldn't sustain it.
Buffalo did everything they could do in the first period to run Montreal out of the rink and played possibly as good a period of hockey as they played all year. The second period started, the Canadiens were still there. The Sabres said, hey, wait a minute. You aren't supposed to show up for this period. We just threw everything we could throw at you. The Canadiens just picked away, ended up taking the momentum of the game away from the Sabres and went on to a victory.
And that, of course, the officials are well aware of, including Don Koharski, who's over there talking with John Muckler right now about the calls that have been made. Muckler knows in this division he needs to establish the physical presence, knows they tried it last night, didn't get all they wanted. That's the high stick that I don't think anybody saw. I don't think they made the call on that. What happened afterwards was the reaction to it by Ewan, who went over against the board, sent something to the bench, and the next thing he knew, he had Donnelly on his back. Those are the standings coming into tonight's game, with Boston having won in overtime today. Quebec, of course, still very much in the hunt for first place. The first two get home ice in the playoffs. Numbers 3 and 4 make it to the playoffs as well. Clearly, those are the 4 teams that are going to be in Montreal, Quebec, Boston, and Buffalo. The question is who's going to play whom where.
Well, I'll tell you what, I do not think the Buffalo Sabres want to meet the Montreal Canadiens first round. Montreal has dominated them in years past and seems to have their number again this season.
Buffalo, a 5-minute major called on the high sticking, so they did see it. Power play now underway. Schmelik's got it. It's a 2-man advantage for Montreal for up to a minute 44 here. 2-man advantage. Muller's got it. Muller back to Desjardins. Shot. Save made by Grant Fuhr on Gary Lehman. Pushed away by Bellows. 5-on-3 power play. Shot save. Fuhr rebound skips over Lehman. Desjardins came back to get it. Could not. Hannon dumped it in the middle, and Bodger will send it out. So the 5-minute major's up on the board, along with the first penalty that has a minute 20 left on it. So a long 2-man advantage for Montreal. Kurt Muller brings it in, sends it behind the net. Gary Lehman over to get it. Lehman sends it up for Danfus. Danfus and Desjardins along the line. Lehman looking. Muller got dumped in front of the net. Good pushing and shoving down low. Shot on. Saved by Fuhr, and skips it up into the seats. From the Forum in Montreal, 1-1 with the Canadiens on a 2-man advantage.
Great goaltenders give their teams opportunities to win hockey games, and here Grant Fuhr doing everything he can for the Buffalo Sabres. This is his 3rd save on this flurry. A big slapper from Danfus from the point, and he deflects it up over the crowd, over the glass, into the crowd.
2-man advantage. Kurt Muller wins the faceoff, centered, and Fuhr reached out and knocked it away from Bellows. Played by Gary Lehman. Lehman shot, saved by Fuhr, picked up by Ledyard. And Ledyard clears it out. Let's bring you up to date on the penalties now. Donnelly got the instigator and the 5 for fighting, so he's automatically out of the game in the instigator. Wood got the 5 minutes for high sticking, and Ewan got 5 for fighting. So you end up with a 2-man advantage for another 34 seconds here for the Canadiens. Danfus had it blocked by Bodger to Desjardins. Desjardins circles around. Lehman came to the top, deflected right to him. Centered, Bellows shot. Danfus somehow missed it. Desjardins holds it in. Gary Lehman. Lehman in, shot, save Fuhr. With 15 seconds left on the 2-man advantage.
Grant Fuhr is no stranger to a lot of activity. When you play on a team that's a free-willing, highly offensive team, you're going to get chances, but this is exceptional goaltending by Fuhr. The Canadiens passing the puck through the seams, and there's a good shot by Lehman. The Canadiens have to get someone in Fuhr's face. There's no sense standing beside it when that shot's coming from the point, unless it's going to be a pass that you can deflect. Fuhr has been able to see these point shots, therefore he's been able to come up with the initial save. The Sabres have done a good job of clearing the rebound, or he has deflected it away himself.
Good play by Bodger in front of him that time, who knocked it away. Kurt Muller moves in to take the face-off. Dave Hannon with him. 15 on the 2-man advantage. 3:15 on the 5-minute major. Desjardins will chase it down at center. Game is tied at 1-1. We've had 2 power play goals here in the first period, picked up by Bellows and Pat LaFontaine. Cleared out of the zone again by Hannon. Desjardins chasing it. We're now down to a 5-on-4 power play. Still Canadiens with a lot of time. 2:55 left on it. But here's one of those situations in a game where the Buffalo Sabres can kill this off, the whole thing. It's a big pick-me-up for the Sabres. Not to allow the Canadiens to score in a 2-man or in a 5-minute major. It all came at the same time. Danfus trying to hold it in. Schmelik got it up against the boards, and LaFontaine goes down on top of it with the game tied at 1. Jack?
Gary, Calgary's now up 2-0 on San Jose. Theron Fleury breaking through center zone. He goes all the way in. It's a 2-on-0. Wade Flaherty way out of the goal. The pass scores the goal. Brett Ashton gets it. It's 2-0 Flames. Back to Gary Thorne in Montreal.
Jack, thank you. We are tied 1-1 here. Still 2:36 left on this power play for Montreal. These 2 teams on the season now, with Montreal winning 6-4 last night. The advantage goes to Montreal, 3-1. 2 games they played here. Montreal won 3-0. Patrick Roy had the shutout. Montreal won the other game here by a score of 4-2. Buffalo's only win this season at Buffalo, an 8-2 win against the Canadiens. Power play continued. DiPietro, Bellows the pick. Drops it back, intended for Bellows. Banked up in the air by Schmelik, centered in front. Shot saved by Fuhr. Grant Fuhr and DiPietro. Outstanding save as DiPietro went in alone on him. Had the chance. 2:08 left to go on the power play. Canadiens from out of their own end. Break wide to Pietro, coming back to Gary Lehman. Lehman in, Lehman looking. Bellows scores!
Sensational play by Gary Lehman as he looks off the Sabre defender, slides the pass over. Quick breakout here coming up. The pass is going to come up. DiPietro right here to Lehman. Now watch him look off the Sabre defender. Good fake. Down he goes. And there's Bellows for the empty netter. As Fuhr has no time to react to that pass. Bang, bang. On the stick, off the stick, back onto the stick here.
Brian Bellows has 2 power play goals in the first period. He now has picked up 28 total on the year and 13 power play goals. And Bellows gives the Canadiens a 2-1 lead. This coming on that 5-minute major. With a major penalty, you keep the penalty minutes up. You get as many goals as you can get during that 5-minute period. Puck was hit with a high stick by the Canadiens. The officials say it was intentionally hit with a high stick, so the face-off goes all the way down to the Canadian end.
This is the initial pass. DiPietro, Lehman, look, head up, faking the Sabre defenseman. Sutton goes down trying to block it. Grant Fuhr has no chance as Bellows sets up very nicely on the forehand. You have a winger playing the offside, so they get that pass at a good angle, and he puts it into the empty net past Grant Fuhr.
Gary Lehman, another offensive acquisition. Brian Strudlin going over to Calgary. Lehman, 29, a 10-year veteran in the National Hockey League, being picked up by this Canadian team, which, as we mentioned at the top, has so fired up their offensive play. Bellows, 2 goals. First one at 1:16. This one at 6:48. Lehman and DiPietro pick up the assists on it to give the Canadiens the 2-1 advantage. Sweeney moves in to take the face-off against Kurt Muller. Still a minute 41 left to go on the power play. Players moving into the circle. Face-off won back by Sweeney. Ledyard trying to hold it in, can't. Gilbert Dion lost it. Ledyard hit by Leclerc, picked up by Kirk Muller. Muller dropping it ahead to Damphousse. Damphousse with Dion and Leclerc in front of him. Setting up with a power play. 5-on-4 advantage to Muller. Kicked away from him in the corner. John Leclerc out of St. Albans, Vermont. Couldn't control it, and it ends up in the seats. All kinds of action going on in the National Hockey League. Games played this afternoon and a full set going on tonight. We'll keep you posted on all of those as we roll along here, both from the Forum in Montreal and also for the people back. And our Budweiser scoreboard shows you what's going on. Kirk Muller moves in. Pat LaFontaine will take the face-off against Muller. Still a minute 20 left on the power play. LaFontaine took him a while to catch up with Mario Lemieux. Lemieux has now been out 22 games. And Pittsburgh's gone 10, 9, and 3 without him. Pat LaFontaine did catch him, has passed him. Will try and continue to add points to that leading scorer's position. Bodger cleared it around. LaFontaine there. Can't get it by Damphousse. Behind the net. Controlled momentarily. Bodger poked it away. Desjardins able to hold it in. Leclerc drops it to Damphousse. Damphousse centering. Far side. Trying to draw the penalty, I think, was Gilbert Dion, who went down. But clearly under more of his own force than anybody else's. 55 left on the Montreal power play. Tipped by Ledyard over Fuhr's stick. Ledyard back to get it. Banged up in the air. And we'll get a whistle. That's going to be called, I believe, on icing. Face-off all the way down by Waugh.
With Matthew Schneider out of the Habs lineup tonight, the power play point men have been forwards both times. Gary Lehman was on the point earlier, and that time Vincent Damphousse. So Demers showing good confidence in his forwards. The Sabres have a tremendous penalty-killing unit, #1 in killing penalties, and they can also score a lot of shorthanded goals. Speaking of Canadian injuries, there you see it. Brunet with the thumb, Schneider out with an ankle, and he's probably their best defenseman. Carbonneau, one of the best defensive forwards in the National Hockey League. Dennis Savard, we all know how he can dangle with a puck, and Dufresne is out with a knee. So the Habs are playing extremely well, although they have a lot of key people out of the lineup.
Incredibly well. They've gone 8-1-1 in their last 10, coming to tonight with a 4-game win streak. Even though they are missing, had been missing 6 regular players. They got one back tonight in Ewan. Still on the power play, 33 seconds. Kevin Haller sent it into the corner. DiPietro trying to kick it in. Got it by Presley. Ledyard put the hit on the far side. Down to 24 left on the advantage. Losh, Schmelik able to clear it out. Buffalo has done an outstanding job in killing off these penalties, including the 5-minute major. They've only got 14 seconds left on it. They've given up the one power play goal. But if that's all you give up, and you're trying to kill it off, it'll work. Tipped wide of the net in front, Lehman. Back to Bellows. Bellows looking. Bellows moving in. Penalty is over, and we're back to even strength. Centered shot. Did not get in on goal. Deflected out deep. Again, DiPietro was there, and now Buffalo's got him back. McGillney coming up ice. McGillney brings it in, but he's offside. Buffalo complaining that there should have been a penalty as Presley got hauled into the zone. Canadiens up 2-1. Canadiens leading it here. Bellows has picked up 2 for Montreal. LaFontaine scoring his 40th for Buffalo, but Buffalo's going to be shorthanded again. Presley complaining to Don Koharski about the non-call that he thought should have existed for interference. Gets an unsportsmanlike conduct at 8:59.
And that's after his team had killed off what could have been game-ending penalties. 2 minutes with the 2-man advantage, 5 minutes with a man advantage. They do an exceptional job allowing only 1 goal. And now they've got to kill another 2 minutes, destroys their offensive flow, and puts them in a hole as far as getting the people they want to get on the ice.
Playing all short-handed here in this first period, the Buffalo Sabres, but they are only down by a score of 2-1. So the Canadiens go back on the power play. Kirk Muller. One of the things that happens to Montreal with the power play not as effective as it might be, teams sometimes are willing to give Montreal power play chances in return for playing the body and making a statement. Bobby Corkum took the hit on the far side. Puck held in, though. Damphousse has got it. Damphousse drops it to Bellows. Bellows back to the point. Shot deflected out in front by Kirk Muller. Rebound, Muller diving for it. Bobby Corkum gets the stick up. We're going to get another call. Corkum on the far side was battling Patrice Brisebois, and he got him with a high stick. Another 2-man advantage unless they match it up, and I don't think they're going to.
Boy, it's time for John Muckler to call a timeout here and settle his troops down. They're playing with reckless abandon and absolutely no discipline at all. First of all, you have Presley take a talking penalty. You're already a man short. You take a high sticking penalty. Discipline is a key factor in this game, and the Sabres are showing absolutely none of it.
Donnie Lever closest to you, one of the assistant coaches. John Muckler behind him, the head coach. And the Buffalo Sabres, for the second time in this period, in fact, in the first half of this period, are going to be at a 2-man disadvantage again with a minute 16 remaining on the first penalty. Bobby Corkum goes at 9:43 for high sticking. As a result of all this, the shots are 7-2 in favor of the Canadiens. Now we go to a 5-on-3 power play. Our Budweiser scoreboard updating you on other games around the National Hockey League. Kirk Muller moves in on the face-off against Hannon. Canadiens able to control, hold it in the zone. Brisebois working at the point. Patrice Brisebois. Lehman. Lehman looking in front. Muller standing in the slot area. Back for Brisebois. Brisebois trying to center it through Hannon. Couldn't. And it's sent out.
Good play. Doug Bodger in the right position. He keeps his stick in the passing lane, eliminating that cross-ice pass that was coming to Bellows.
Brisebois got it in. Lehman looking. Lehman will set it up. Bellows on the far side. Muller in the middle. Kirk Muller trying to center, did. Bellows couldn't knock it down. Gary Lehman. Lehman back to Brisebois. Buffalo back in that pocket. Very tight. Brisebois, save Pure, and the cover.
Again, the Sabre defenders doing a good job allowing Grant Fuhr to see that shot. Brisebois one-times it, but Fuhr has it all the way, and if you're shooting on Grant Fuhr from the top of the circles and he can see it, you aren't going to score many goals. There's Brisebois coming back from Damphousse. There's the one-timer. Fuhr sees it all the way, makes the save, and importantly smothers the rebound. Very important. It's great to have your goaltender quick like Fuhr, who will jump in that loose puck, because if you don't, you know the Canadiens get possession again, and you've got to go through the whole rigmarole trying to get it off with a 2-man disadvantage.
Schmelik, one of the penalty killers, going back to the bench as Sweeney moves out. 32 seconds remaining on the 2-man advantage. Bob Sweeney acquired off the waiver from Boston off waivers. Will take the face-off against Muller. Muller, who won it. And again, Montreal will get it set up. They've got 26 left on the two-man advantage. Hill working the point now. Hill, Damphousse. Damphousse back in the middle. Kevin Haller, Haller the shot. Fuhrer the save. Rebound to the near side by Sweeney. Kevin Haller able to hold it in. They go back to the point. Diving Damphousse. He cannot get it. Patrick Waugh comes out of net at the other end. Waugh has done more moving the puck up than he has making saves here in the first period.
He'd love to keep it that way.
Yeah. 3 seconds on the two-man, and it's over. Now a 5-on-4 power play for the Canadiens. 40 seconds left on this penalty. Buffalo really getting away with a lot thus far in this game. Himmelev in a sense can't clear it out. Muller had it. Lost it in the middle. Coming over to get it Ledyard. Shorthanded 3-on-2. Ledyard intended for Presley. Hill sweeps it in on Waugh, and a penalty coming up on Hill. Sean Hill of the Canadiens got his stick in and took a saber down into the net. And that will cost Montreal 19 seconds on the power play as Wayne Presley got driven and dumped.
Kirk Muller always pays the price. He goes where you have to go to score goals, and here he's going to pay the price as Doug Bodger comes in, moves him out of the way. He catches his skate on the net a little bit, and down he goes. You know anything close, if you're a Montreal Canadien, anything close is going to be called. Fuhrer has the puck. There's no need to even get your stick out. Kaharski has given the Sabres penalty after penalty. He's going to call it. It's human nature to give the other team a break a little bit. He'll get the stick out and puts the Habs in the penalty box.
Hill goes out on the interference call coming at 11:24. So we'll skate 4-on-4 for 19 seconds. Bellows has 2 power play goals for the Canadiens. LaFontaine the other from Bodger and Himmelev, giving the Canadiens the 2-1 lead they have right now. Lots of action. Ledyard shot. Wow, the save. Desjardins picks it up. 4-on-4 by Keane. Keane sends it in by McGillney into the corner. Sutton back to get it. Double squeeze by Keane. Ledyard. And Ledyard will move it out. And a power play right now. A minute 41 on the power play for the Buffalo Sabres. McGillney moves it in. Centering LaFontaine. Couldn't get it to him. Comes back to Sutton. Sutton to LaFontaine. Himmelev and McGillney with him up front on the power play. Locked down low in the corner. Good defensive play made by J.J. Daniels. And Desjardins able to clear it out of the zone. Well, John Muckler said his bench would be shortened early in this game. He hasn't had much choice. In fact, both these teams have gone with about the same players on their specialty teams. And that should be an icing call as Brisebois touches up on the far side from the Forum in Montreal. ESPN's National Hockey Night. Canadiens leading the Sabres 2-1. Canadiens leading it here. It's been a specialty team first period, and a power play underway right now for the Buffalo Sabres. Hawerchuk from behind the net gets it away to LaFontaine, drops it off for Bodger. Bodger will send it in. Himmelev, McGillney, and LaFontaine working with Hawerchuk and Bodger. Patrick Waugh tried to bounce it around, and a player's hurt. Brisebois. The Canadiens, Patrice Brisebois grabbing onto his face. Patrick Waugh, his own goaltender, I believe, caught him in the face with his goal stick as Waugh was trying to clear it around. And even though he has that shield on, it didn't look like it helped very much. It got up underneath the visor.
Patrick Waugh, not much activity this period. He's going to clear this puck. Now watch the stick follow through right there. And the toe of the blade, that stings. That stings an awful lot. Catches Brisebois underneath the shield. And he's back on his feet. He's on his way to the bench, so I'm sure we'll see him return. But man, that's got to smart. You're coming in, so you have the double collision. You're in motion towards the object that's going to hit you. And a good, strong follow-through by Patrick Waugh fells one of his own teammates.
That stick is so wide. So strong. Muller against LaFontaine. 51 seconds left on this Buffalo power play. Muller, a great face-off man. Able to win it again. And the Canadiens got it out of the zone. Bodger back to get it. 2-1 game. Buffalo trying to get it tied up here on this power play. Had it blocked by Muller. Muller's alone, short-handed. Bodger with him. Muller waiting for some help as they changed up. Got it. In the middle, Desjardins and Keane were both there. Could not control. Deflected Desjardins. McGillney to LaFontaine. McGillney in front of him. LaFontaine centered right through the crease as Himalev was cutting in. Not quite enough on it to get him. Down goes Muller. He had grabbed, though, the Buffalo player's stick. Howard-Chuck drops it to Bodger. Looking, 13 left to go on the power play. LaFontaine. LaFontaine to Himalev. Waugh covered, knocked it away. Howard-Chuck shot blocked as it hit a skate and cleared. And that'll do it. And the power play's over, and once again, for one of the solid times in this first period, we're back to even strength. 6:30 to go in the first. Canadiens leading at 2-1. The shots are 9-3 in favor of Montreal. Evan Haller going back to get it. They wave off any icing on it. Haller plays it on the near side. Haller bangs it up for Dion. Dion couldn't get it. Chased down. Belanger knocked away from him to Dion. Gilbert Dion. Shot, score!
Gilbert Dion does a tremendous job of protecting the puck. It's up in the air. He's going to cradle this puck, get body position here as he moves it in with his glove onto his skate, and then he snaps a low shot past the Buffalo goaltender, Grant Fuhr. But that's not an easy thing to do, to control the puck the way Dion did. Coming in full flight. You'll see it come up here as Belanger's on the attack. There it is, from the glove to the skate. He wastes no time, and he beats Grant Fuhr through the legs.
Only 22 years old, Gilbert Dion has given the Canadiens a 3-1 lead. Dion putting it in his 14th of the season, and a penalty coming up immediately on Todd Ewan. And in the corner, the sticks get up. Skating away from dangers, Brad May not wanting to draw any more penalties, as he and Todd Ewan were staring each other down over there. The penalty had already been called, and Buffalo's going to go back on the power play again as Odelin goes to the penalty box along with Todd Ewan.
Odelin and Ewan going, and it doesn't look like anyone from the Sabres as Brad May backed up, called Kaharski, said, look, this guy wants to fight. I don't want to fight. And he draws the Canadiens into a 2-minute minor, so the Sabres are going to get an opportunity in the power play again.
Wow, and it's going to be another 2-man advantage, this time for Buffalo.
There's Dion coming in, controlling the puck. And you'll see Fuhr going down, and it beats him between the legs as he doesn't get down quickly enough. A play like that, sometimes you just stand there. That puck will hit you. When you're on the move, the legs are always open for that second, and that was a split second that the puck got through on.
He is the much younger brother of Marcel Dion. Marcel's already had his career. Gilbert, at the age of 22, just starting his.
And what a career Marcel Dion had. Third leading scorer of all time. And he played in a market like a Montreal or a New York or a Toronto, where the game was a big deal instead of spending so much time in LA before hockey was the vogue thing to do. His name and face would be plastered all over as far as endorsements go. But he had a quiet career and quietly did his work and did it extremely well, and he'll be in the record books for a long time to come.
2-man advantage now for the Buffalo Sabres as the Canadiens lead at 3-1 with 5:59 to go in the period. McGillney comes away with the puck. The league's leading goal scorer, 62 for Alexander McGillney. Howard-Chuck and Bodger. McGillney, Himalev and LaFontaine. Right in on top of Waugh, makes the save. Rebound deflected off the defenseman, back to Bodger. Howard-Chuck faking it. Bodger. Boy, both these defenses staying way back here. Shot, save, Waugh on LaFontaine. Patrick Waugh, 4th in goals against, 5th in save percentage, 3rd in wins. Starting his 48th out of 65 Canadian games this season.
The Sabres moving the puck around well. Here's what they wanted. LaFontaine shooting off the pass. And Patrick Waugh not only makes a save, but hangs on to the puck so his team can regroup. They can try to win the face-off here. Of course, Kirk Muller will be out there to take it. Gary, there's 5.5 minutes left in this period. I don't think there have been more than 2 minutes played where Kirk Muller has not been on the ice.
He is, of course, along with his regular line, a penalty killer and a power play man. The penalties Ewan got for tripping and Odelin got for unsportsmanlike conduct, both coming at 14:01, giving Buffalo the 2-man advantage. Canadiens taking plenty of time on the draw. They really wanted Muller to move in to take it, but will not get it that way. Eric Desjardins will go against Pat LaFontaine, and LaFontaine wins it. Back to Bodger again. Two-man advantage Sabres. LaFontaine, Bodger, play tic-tac. Howard-Chuck, McGillney. Howard-Chuck, McGillney. Look how close he is to the net with a two-man advantage. He's virtually on the doorstep, could reach out and touch LaFontaine. Howard-Chuck faking, Himmelhoff cutting. Bodger, shot, wide. Muller went down to block it and cleared out of the zone. Canadiens, J.J. Daniel.
Kirk Muller has emerged as Mr. Everything in this Canadian team, the heart and soul player of the team. Everybody thinks an awful lot of Muller in Montreal.
Bodger's got it. Bodger drops it off. Howard-Chuck looking. Howard-Chuck back for Bodger. Intended for LaFontaine, who got it by Muller. Diving. Bodger in. Shot. Wah! Makes the save and hangs on. 49 seconds left on the two-man advantage for the Buffalo Sabres.
When you look back in this game, that goal by Dion could be a big one. Here are the Sabres with another chance, and Waugh with another save. Goaltenders are taking turns making spectacular saves as Bodger lets it rip. The Canadiens had so many opportunities with the man advantage, did not score. They got the one goal, and they had the 5-on-3. Back to even strength. Dion gets the goal, gives the Canadiens a 3-1 lead, and that could be a big goal because the Sabres were starting to come to that point. Took a little wind out of their sails, and now the Sabres have an opportunity to cut it to one goal.
Montreal will use their timeout. 1 30-second timeout per game in the NHL, and they're doing it right here. Jacques Demers wants to protect that 3-1 lead. He wants to be able to keep his #1 penalty killers out there. Since they've been out there most of this first period, he's going to draw them an extra breath by using the timeout right here. With 4:48 left to go in the first period, shots are now 10-6 in favor of the Canadiens. Got a great show coming up I think you're really going to enjoy. On Outside the Lines tomorrow, Bob Lee, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, Shaq's Sudden Impact. This is going to be a look at the great one, Shaquille O'Neal, that you usually don't get. Bob Lee will be behind the scenes as ESPN has traveled with him for 2 weeks on the road, at home, on the road trips, and you'll have a chance to look inside a special Shaq attack. That's 8 o'clock Eastern, right here on ESPN. Pat LaFontaine and Kirk Muller. 49 seconds on the two-man advantage.
Muller would like to win it clean. LaFontaine would like to scramble it. He wins it clean, and the Sabres are on the attack.
LaFontaine from Howard-Chuck. Able to hold on to it. McGillney on the near side post. Howard-Chuck. Bodger. LaFontaine the shot. Deflected wide off a skate. Howard-Chuck holds it in. 30 left on the two-man. Bodger. Deflected again by Kirk Muller. Back to get it is Howard-Chuck. Howard-Chuck. Bodger. The shot through the screen. Muller blocked it again. LaFontaine. LaFontaine moving in. Back to Howard-Chuck. Shot. Saved by Waugh. Rebound clipped away off the boards. Held in by Bodger. Patrick Waugh in the crease. Can't find it. Score! LaFontaine! Waugh had it, lost it, and LaFontaine buried it. 3-2 Canadiens.
Patrick Waugh made an exceptional save on Dale Howard-Chuck. Very sneaky shot. Howard-Chuck gets it away so quickly, but then he fell asleep with the puck beside his net. He should have just fallen down on this, put his glove on it, and froze it for his penalty killers. Anytime you're killing a penalty, face-offs in your own end are good. It gives you a chance to regroup. But see the puck come to the side of the net. Just grab it with your glove, Patrick. The Sabres keep whacking away. Sweeney gets it out. LaFontaine for the payoff. And we've got ourselves a one-goal game.
He had 46 goals last year, finished 5th in goal scoring and 15th overall. He now has 41 goals. Pat LaFontaine, 17 of them have come on the power play. And he has brought his Buffalo Sabres back to within one. That was a 5-on-3 power play goal, and both penalties are now over. So the Sabres were able to get one out of the two-man advantage. Now have cut the lead to a 3-2 Montreal Canadian lead. Ledyard got it up on the near side, bounced back into the zone to Sutton. Sutton being challenged by Gary Lehman. Lehman worked it away. Good play by Lehman to Danforth. Lehman created that. Shot from the point. Fjord the save. Rebound. Lehman save. Fjord. Bellows center. Knocked away by Sutton. And Sutton can't get it out. Bellows holds it in. And down on the ice is May. Buffalo Buffalo Sabres, Brad May. And they're upset about this as well.
Well, there's a Buffalo Sabre in a lot of pain, Brad May, and he's a recipient as he comes out here on Brisebois. He's going to give him a stick in the face. Now, Brisebois going to come with a two-hander, wham, right across the right foot. And May is in pain.
That was the old axe chop right there, boy. Wow.
That could fell an oak, that chop, I'll tell you what.
It did. Brisebois stays out. Nobody saw it. Everybody was looking the other way. Sweeney on the face-off with Bellows. Played out. It's taken up by Damphousse. Damphousse stolen by Presley. Damphousse got knocked out. Brought up on the left wing side. Brisebois had moved in. Presley goes to the corner with him. Brisebois is all over the place here in this first period. Canadiens leading 3-2. 3:12 to go in the first. All kinds of activity here in this one. The last goal picked up by LaFontaine. Sweeney got the assist at 15 of 55. Dion's goal prior to that. Jose Belanger, Jesse Belanger from Haller. Brought in by Bellows. Bellows centered off Gary Lehman. You can bet every check's being followed through in this game. Lehman, who can stick handle, does. Shot save. Pure rebound. Bellows scores. Oh, put that one on your VCR.
Gary Lehman doing it all for the Canadiens. Here he is with a puck. You talk about new life. A former 50-goal scorer with the Leafs. What a great move there. He eludes two Sabres, gets the shot on. Cure's going to make the save. Desjardins come in from his point position, and it comes right back out to Bellows. Good positioning. The Habs just all over the Sabres in that sequence. Bad defensive zone coverage by the Buffalo Sabres. And Furyk just caught out of position. He's down to make the save. He tried to clear it. Further pulled himself out of position, and the top half of the net is wide open for Brian Bellows.
Latour de Chapeau. Brian Bellows gets the hat trick. And the Canadiens are up 4-2. Bellows with a huge first period, but what a play by Gary Lehman to set it up. Howardchuk cleared it out of the zone. Played near side Hannon. Hannon shooting it in for Himmelev. Cut off by Desjardins. Desjardins and Himmelev collide. Up, not out of the zone. It was kicked in on the far side by Keith Carney. Carney of the Sabres trying to hold it in as he battles. He did. Hannon spinning around. Shot deflected. That one went off a Canadian skate on the way in. Held in Howardchuk. Dumps it in the corner. Hannon back to Himmelev to Howardchuk. His shot. He missed it wide. Went for the right shoulder and didn't get it. Canadiens having trouble clearing the zone here. Ed Ronan finally got it out. Grant Fuhr back to get it. Minute 46 left to go here in the first period. It's a 4-2 Canadiens lead, and you're seeing the offense of this Montreal Canadiens team. LaFontaine in. LaFontaine in. Wow, run into. Shot blocked. Ronan got the stick on it on the second chance by Pat LaFontaine as he was going after the hat trick. Muller had it stripped from him at center. LaFontaine fell down as he tried to get it up ice. Brisebois intercepted. Leclerc knocks it down, gets hit by Sutton. Banged away by LaFontaine twice. Leclerc spun it around. Keane at center. Keane turns it up ice for the Canadiens to Leclerc. John Leclerc. Bodger got a piece, but not all of it. LaFontaine. Far side, it's Bobby Corkum taking the hit as he collided with Mike Keane. And on the far side, Sean Hill and Pat LaFontaine collide during the line change by the benches. 1 minute left to go in the first period. Sean Hill, the high flip into the zone. Has been an exciting first period. Lots of action, lots of passion in this one. To the corner. DiPietro to the point. Himmelev twice trying to bang it by Hill. Can't. Hill shot it up against Bodger. Sweeney comes over. Canadiens changing up. We'll get the puck back at center. And we'll complete the change. Audette took a run at it. Couldn't get it. Played by Sutton. Sutton, not a lot of room, just dumped it up in the air. DiPietro swung it in. Sutton right back up to the point. Roberge moved up to hold it in. Todd Ewan, DiPietro, and Roberge, they've got the muscle the Canadiens do out on this line. Behind the net, Sutton tied up DiPietro. Ewan centered. In front, Ewan couldn't get a stick on it. Himalev comes the other way. 10 seconds left. He's got Donald on deck with him. On deck, moving in. Poke checked away. Last minute, Jesse Belanger. Poke checked it away. Belanger, who has picked up his first National Hockey League point on an assist in tonight's game.
The Habs are going to come away with a hooking penalty here to Desjardins as the Sabres busted out 2-on-1. He was trying to get back, and he had a tug on the Sabre forward. Funny little message sent there. Last 15 seconds of the period, Demers sends out his two heavyweights just to remind the Sabres before they go in a rest for 20 minutes. If you want to start any rough stuff, I've still got my two big guns that come on the ice. They're here. One of yours has already been thrown out of the game.
Only 4.8 left to go here. There is Pat LaFontaine. Big first period for him, as he has come out with a couple of goals. We'll bring you up to date on all the scores around the National Hockey League, scores and highlights. And Cam Neely back, of course, for his second game with the Bruins. Picked up another power play goal.
May and Brisebois facing off against each other.
This is going to do it. Linesman moving in.
There's Daniel.
McGillney skates by. Don Koharski telling him to just get back to the benches in order to get out of the way here. The linesmen are going to have to move in. May moved over.
May started jawing with Brisebois the minute he got onto the ice, and he saw that he was standing opposite him. Brisebois, of course, didn't back down. I would keep an eye on those two as the game progresses.
Good first period, especially by the Canadiens, who put their offense to work. They lead it 4-2. Jack?
All right, Gary, terrific stuff from the Forum. 6 goals. We're only 20 minutes into that one. Lots of other action going on in the National Hockey League this morning, this afternoon, and tonight. Let's begin in the province of Alberta, where the Rangers go north and face Edmonton tonight. And it is 0-0 at the end of the first period after 5 straight starts for John Van Beesbroek. The Rangers go with Mike Richter in goal, and he's been pretty hot so far. San Jose against Calgary. And in this one, it was a rough night for Wade Flaherty so far. In his first NHL start, Paul Ranheim turns, knocks in the rebound to give the Flames a 1-0 lead. Then midway through the first period, Theoren Fleury on the go, 2-on-0, and it's an easy one for Brent Ashton. Calgary, second place in the Smythe division, 4 points behind Vancouver coming into this game. Minnesota's at St. Louis. Dave Gagne in center zone. 70 feet away, Curtis Joseph sees it, but he cannot corral it. It busts through the catching glove into the goal. Little motion on that puck. Minnesota 7 points up on St. Louis with 2 games in hand for 4th place in the Norris division. Hartford against Quebec. It was 3-1 Nordiques into the second period, but the Whalers coming back. Nick Kyprios on the doorstep, jams it in, and it's now 3-2 in the second period. Quebec 5 points behind Montreal for first place in the Adams division and 2 games in hand. All right, we got a lot more coming your way on National Hockey Night, including a review of this afternoon's action in Montreal tonight. It is 4-2 in favor of the Habs after the first period. Brian Bellows already has the hat trick for Montreal. Welcome back to ESPN's National Hockey Night up at the Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens have a 4-2 lead over Buffalo, and that game's only in the first period. This afternoon on Causeway Street, Washington against Boston, and that is Cam Neely tipping in the blast from Ray Bourque. Neely's second in his second game back in overtime. Neely with the hit. That's Adam Oates in front. Vladimir Ruzicka, a magician with the stick, and the Bruins win it 5-4 in sudden death. 4 out of the last 5 games for Boston. They've gone to overtime, and they are unbeaten in their last 5. Washington's 7-game winning streak comes to an end. Tampa Bay against Pittsburgh. Penguins been struggling of late. Joey Mullen, though, a good day for him. The blast goes high, stick side past Wendell Young. Mullen, 2 goals and an assist, picks up his 900th career point. Tom Barrasso stops Rob Zaminer once, but not twice. And what do you know? The Lightning get a tie out of this one. The Penguins just 1 win in their last 7 games. In their last 2, a loss to Ottawa, and then a tie against Tampa Bay. Islanders against the Flyers. It was 1-1 in the first period. Steve Thomas. Is that Velcro on the stick or what? Then he finally hits the Gatorade bottle. and the Islanders are up 2-1. Mark Fitzpatrick, humongous in the goal. Glove save, robbing Greg Hawgood. 2-2 in the second. Dominic Rousseau, where's the puck? It's just barely getting over the line, and the Islanders win it 3-2. Al Arbour's 1,500th game behind the bench. The Islanders are now within 2 points of the Rangers for 4th place in the Patrick Division. Chicago at Detroit. Late first period, 1-1. Steve Smith the shot. Dirk Graham on the rebound. Yves Racine displays his displeasure. Graham would score 2 goals in the game. Ed Belfour bricks up the front of the goal, stopping Steve Yzerman once and twice. 27 saves for Belfour. The Blackhawks win 2-1. Chicago, 4 straight wins now. The Blackhawks lead Detroit by 5 points in the Norris Division, plus they have a game in hand. The Senators, well, they're now 0-31 on the road. Claude Lemieux with 3 assists for the Devils, and it's 3rd place now for the New Jersey guys as they leapfrog the Rangers. They are 1 point ahead of New York. In Boston, Bruins fans are saying the season has just begun because Cam Neely has returned after a long absence. Neely comes back and scores a goal in his first game, and we'll talk about what his return to the Bruins means when National Hockey Night continues. Well, Cam Neely in many ways is the heart and soul of the Boston Bruins. He had missed 93 consecutive games, but earlier this week, after an awful long wait, he was back. Neely, of course, tried it for 9 games last season, and the knee just wasn't right. But his hard-grinding, hard-hitting style powers the Bruins. In his return to the ice, he pots one. And to the Bruins, the return of their 2-time 50-goal scorer is a real emotional boost. But beyond that, it does something for that team strategically, doesn't it, Bill?
Well, you try to put a player's return into terms, I guess, that everybody can relate to. To me, Cam Neely returning to the Bruins is the ultimate position upgrade. He is their strongest winger. He is their biggest winger. He's their most physical. He's also their top scoring winger. That means he is their best all-around winger. When he goes back into the lineup, you drop the worst winger out of the lineup. That's why it's the ultimate position upgrade. The only potential problem I thought for Cam Neely might have been his timing. If the timing's not there and you bog down, you don't score when you come back for a while, perhaps that can affect you mentally. So what does he do? He comes back and scores in his first 2 games back, so the timing will not be a problem for him. He'll have it all back, and he'll have his confidence there in a couple of weeks when the timing comes back.
Al Morganti, does this turn the Adams division into a legitimate 3-team race with Neely's return?
Oh, it certainly does. You've got Ray Bourque there anyway, but Cam Neely coming in, it drives him up another level for the playoffs. In addition, Bill said it's the ultimate position upgrade, but it's a domino effect with the Bruins because now you've got Joe Juneau. You put him at center on another line. Sure, they can load up with Oates and Neely and whoever's going to play on that side. You can have Kvartalnov now on that side where he wasn't so effective before. He may become a prime-time player now with Neely on that wing. They have all kinds of ways they can go. If you shut down one line, they'll come at you with another line, and there's always the threat that they put the 3 together again and have a terrific line with Juneau on the wing, Oates and Neely. It gives them much more ways to attack you in the playoffs. You can't shut them down anymore.
Bill Clement, we talk about the primetime players, the big names, the guys who get the humongous headlines, but how about the guys that get the little agate type? The other guys, perhaps the ones that we have overlooked or maybe are in the shadows.
They're in the shadows to a degree. Terrific players, and I've picked 4 of them. Mark Recchi works in the shadows of Eric Lindros because not only of Eric's size, but he gets all of the ink everywhere. But those are superstar stats, 97 points. Pierre Turgeon from the Islanders will have his best year ever. He's got 96 points already. Craig Janney with 68 assists is number 3 in the NHL in assists. Everybody's forgotten about Craig, and he doesn't even play with Brett Hull, so his assist total, I think, would be higher if he played with a scorer. And Brian Bradley for the Tampa Bay Lightning, 37 goals with an expansion team. Boy, you don't know how many goals that is unless you've tried it. He is 1 behind the all-time high for goals by an expansion team player. Gilbert Perreault had 38 in 1970. Brian Bradley's had a terrific year, and nobody knows about it.
Well, everybody knows about the Pittsburgh Penguins, Bill, but one guy, Larry Murphy, I don't think gets anywhere near the credit he deserves. Everybody looks at Chelios. He's going to win the award for best defenseman. Larry Murphy's had, again, a steady season, a great season, plus 20. Up in Quebec, everybody's looking at the great scores. Boy, what talent there. A guy that's made a huge difference, Mike Ricci, the leadership role that he's playing. Mike Ricci's going to have a bigger role as we go down into March and into the playoffs. Ricci will turn into the leader they've not had since Dale Hunter. Meanwhile, I think if you look at Washington, Peter Bondra has turned into a very steady kind of player that they need. It's a pretty balanced attack. They've got the huge defense. Bondra comes through with, he's got 11 goals, either tied games or put them ahead. And in goal in New Jersey, I think Billington's had a pretty good year. And in Vancouver, Whitmore as a backup has really come through and made them a steady team.
See, there are a lot of those guys.
Yeah, Billington and Bondra are going to be prominently featured in the Plays of the Week a little bit later on in ESPN's National Hockey Night. Yes, as we continue, we remind you that the score up in Montreal, the Habs up 4-2 on the Buffalo Sabres. They're playing up in Edmonton, too. We'll have some Rangers-Oilers highlights when we continue. National Hockey Night on the 5th of March, Friday, the Penguins against the Rangers. New York is in action tonight up in Edmonton. The Rangers settled for a tie in Calgary last night, and Kelly Buchberger looking to beat Mike Richter, but Richter has been tough so far. 0-0 in the second there. It's 4-2 in Montreal.
National Hockey Night is brought to you by the new Subaru Impreza, What to Drive, by Gillette Sunsort and the new Gillette Series. Gillette, the best a man can get. And by Budweiser, the king of beers, who reminds you, friends know when to say when.
Gary Thorne, Jim Chantel, great to have you with us here at Montreal at the Forum, built in 1917 for hockey when they opened up here. Canadiens have been around since 1909, 23 Stanley Cups, and second period ready to go. Canadiens still have a minute 55 to be short-handed. Desjardins went out for hooking at 19:55. The Buffalo Sabres are back on the power play. Officially, they've got Buffalo at 2 for 5. Canadiens at 2 for 6 on the power play in that first period. Shot on, wide away, rebound, McGillney. McGillney was tied up by Daniel, still has the puck. Daniel moves it out. A 4-2 lead for the Montreal Canadiens. Save, wide, rebound covered, still loose. He never got a hold of it. Hawerchuk shot, deflected by Sweeney. McGillney's shot, gloved down in front. So we start the second right where we left off as Odeline cleared it out. Oh my gosh. Bodger takes it back in behind the net. Brian Bellows hat trick of the first period, first of the season, the 8th of his career. Only the 3rd hat trick Montreal's had this year. The other 2 picked up by Damphus against Pittsburgh and Hartford. The only hat tricks the Canadiens have. Pat LaFontaine has picked up 2 goals also in the first period. Dion, the other one for the Montreal Canadiens. Brought in by Hawerchuk. Sent it in the middle. Gary Lehman intercepts. Lehman had an outstanding first period. Bodger able to knock it down over to Hawerchuk. Tip to LaFontaine. 43 on the power play. Fontaine cross-ice McGillney. In front, Sweeney couldn't get a stick on it. Hawerchuk again. Hawerchuk to LaFontaine. Specialty teams have worked virtually all of this game. 7 minutes, 9 seconds of 5-on-5 hockey in the first period. Shot by Hawerchuk, deflected wide, bouncing off McGillney to LaFontaine. McGillney lined it up, couldn't get it off as Haller took it away. Bodger holds it in, 18 left on the power play. McGillney back to the point. Hawerchuk in, Hawerchuk, McGillney, Bodger, saved by Waugh! Patrick Waugh, 2 saves on Bodger. Penalty down to 4 seconds left. Winding up, Lehman gets it out as Hawerchuk was off balance. Penalty's over.
The Canadiens did a good job killing the penalty until they got the puck in their stick. Once they had the puck, instead of clearing it, they gave it to the Sabre defenders and got themselves in all sorts of trouble all over again.
And Patrick Waugh came up with the big saves. It'll be chased down. Grant Fuhr having to play it. Had Dion moving in on him. Audette swung it around, couldn't get it out of the zone. Canadiens able to hold it in. One-line shot saved by Grant Fuhr. And he had some help in front. Audette clears it to the far side. Sabres trying to get out of the zone here. Richard Smelik had trouble with it. Couldn't do it. Back down the middle. Canadiens 3-on-2. Tipped in front. Fuhr behind the net watches as Himmelev picks it up. Checking line had the opportunities for the Canadiens. Audette the other way. Patrick Waugh to get it. Audette ran him. Penalty coming up. Audette put the check on Waugh, who retaliated, and that's going to be one on Dion. Dion came out of nowhere. The stick's up as Hannon moves in for Buffalo. Bodger now goes after Dion. The fight is on between Audette. Lyle Audette is up against the boards in one fight. Bodger's going at it with Dion.
Well, here's the situation. You got Audette, who's been out of the lineup. Some controversy in the paper. A writer writing that John Muckler is not playing Audette because he doesn't like French-speaking hockey players. There's Odeline giving it right now to Carney. The comments are untrue. They put Audette in the lineup. He's trying to make something happen, so he gives Waugh an extra bump. And in the National Hockey League, when you bump someone's goaltender, you're going to pay the consequences. The Habs do what they're supposed to do. They make Audette pay. The Sabres do what they're supposed to do. They come in to Audette's rescue. And what ensues is what you see on the ice right now.
This will be entirely up to Don Koharski, the referee. If he wants a third man in, he's got a couple. He wants to call 2 or 3 fights. He's got those if he wants to. Take a look. Patrick Waugh was the man that the team was trying to protect. And coming in late on the play was Dave Hannon right there. I'll tell you something, though. The arm of Don Koharski did not go up until Patrick Waugh retaliated. That was the first arm. He did not initially signal a penalty on Audette for hitting Patrick Waugh. It was only when Waugh whacked him.
Well, we'll wait and see. I'm not going to make any guesses at this call. There's Audette coming in. Waugh gives him one. Boom. Hits him on top of the head. We can't see Koharski here. There's Odeline. They don't run into the goaltender. League rules would have Audette get a penalty. You're supposed to do everything you can to avoid contact with the goaltender. He did not do that. He went out of his way to make contact. Waugh reacted to that. And there's the rest, folks.
That was Gilbert Dion who came flying out of nowhere. Watch Dion come right here. Look at this.
Boom. But Audette won't take a back seat. He's a courageous little guy.
Well, they had all kinds of penalties. We said in last night's game, a back-to-back series. You expect that to happen, especially when it's a division game. And as hot a rivalry as this one is between the Buffalo Sabres and the Montreal Canadiens, with Montreal winning the game last night by a score of 6-4. We're going to get a bunch of penalties out of this. And as I said, it's up to Koharski as to who he wants to put where. Canadiens leading it by a score of 4-2. And while they go over to the penalty box and get this taken care of, we'll go back to Jack.
All right, Gary, suddenly we have a game up in Calgary. Jean-Francois Catin setting up Hubie McDonough. That's McDonough's little tip. 2 goals in 2 minutes. It's 3-2. Now back to Gary trying to figure out all the paperwork.
Linesman as to who was doing what where. He had moved off to one side. Pierre Champoux and Gerard Gauthier, the linesmen, were up against the boards on the other end. They're going to fill the box up.
Well, you can only watch one title bout at a time, and Koharski's watching one, and of course the linesmen are watching others. Everyone paired off, and everyone got their shots in. I have a feeling it's going to wind up all even. We'll wait and see. Oftentimes in altercations like this, the best call is a non-call. By that I mean you don't penalize either team. Both teams are guilty, so you just even it out and you get on with the rest of the game.
Audette and Waugh, then Gilbert, and then after that it was absolutely everybody. Just underway here in the second period. We want to remind you ESPN's National Hockey Night will continue at Madison Square Garden. And Mario Lemieux and the Pittsburgh Penguins. We know the Pens will be there. He might be there as well. We'll have it for you. Pittsburgh and the Rangers Friday night, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. We said Lemieux's treatments end on Tuesday. He wants to get back as soon as he can once that's over. That could very well be this coming week. Pittsburgh had a tie today, picking up a point. Washington lost today in overtime. The Devils had a win. The Rangers are still playing. The New York Islanders picked up a victory over Philadelphia. What a race in the Patrick division.
A couple of weeks ago, I thought Philadelphia was right out of it, but they put together a couple of wins, and it's a long shot, but they do have a chance at that 4th and final playoff position. When you look at the divisions, you know, you think that Pittsburgh with Mario is a shoo-in to come out of the Patrick division. It won't be easy, but they're a very strong, dominant team. You go out to the Smythe division, Vancouver looks like Calgary would be their toughest opponent, but they have a big, strong team that can score goals, excellent goaltending. You would think that Vancouver would emerge. You get to the Norris and the Adams, it's a dogfight. I could not pick one out of the top 4 teams in either division that I would put my money on. It's going to be very difficult for the Sabres, Canadiens, the Quebec Nordique, and the Boston Bruins to decide a winner, and also those 4 teams in the Norris division.
Home ice will matter very much, and that's why the final weeks of the regular season are vitally important. Still have not had the announcement on the penalties. What we just had. Coming up, though, we're going to add to these numbers. Look at the even strength. That's all the even strength. Buffalo Sabres power play time, the 1-man advantage and the 2-man advantage. They have scored 2 power play goals, and Pat LaFontaine has both of those. For the Montreal Canadiens, here's a breakdown on the minutes. As far as they're concerned, you see the even strength time, their power play time, a 1-man advantage 7:06 and a 2-man advantage for 1:54, and they have scored 2 power play goals in this game, picked up by Brian Bellows, who has the hat trick in the game. Bellows scored the first one. LaFontaine tied it. Then Bellows made it 2-1. Dion made it 3-1. LaFontaine got his 41st to make it a 1-goal game, and Bellows got the hat trick, his 29th at 17-16 of the first 4-2. We're still sorting out the penalties. I'm still turning the pages, Jack Edwards.
All right, Gary. Varshy blows. Quebec was up 3-0 on Hartford, but here comes Jeff Sanderson. Stephane Fissette totally deked the backhand scores, and guess what? It is 3-3 at Le Colisée. Let's go back to the forum and Gary.
And Don Koharski is wondering, why couldn't I have had just a quiet afternoon game? Or he has got to do a lot of work before this game is over tonight. The Montreal Canadiens and Buffalo Sabres getting a very long break here as they wait the announcement on the calls. We've already lost 1 player in this game in the first period. Gord Donnelly picked up an instigator call and a fight, so he was thrown out of the game. So the Buffalo Sabres are already shy 1. The Canadiens fans here want him to get it going and want to pick the pace up, which they have not been able to do yet. Alexander McGillney, who we've talked about a lot, of all the things I was asked tonight getting ready for the game, people kept asking me, how much is he getting paid for the goals he's scoring? He has an interesting contract.
Alexander McGillney is becoming a richer and richer man with every goal.
$600,000 for the base salary McGillney has. Then between 36 and 45, Alexander McGillney is going to be paid $5,000 per goal. For everything that goes over the 45 goal mark, he's getting $20,000. $10,000 this year per goal and $10,000 next year's per goal.
That's great. I mean, that's a ton of money, and God bless him. I'm glad he's getting it. McGillney, LaFontaine, we know they're the offense of the Sabres. But if these 2 teams meet in the playoffs, I think the Habs have a distinct advantage. The Habs have their scoring spread out over more people. The Habs have 12 guys right now with 10 or more goals. The Sabres only have 8. The Habs have 10 guys with 30 or more points. The Sabres only 6. So if you're in the playoffs and you're coaching against the Sabres and you shut McGillney and LaFontaine down, Buffalo has a very, very difficult time to win. And you can see McGillney, LaFontaine, 103 goals, 38% of the Sabres' total goals. They need production from the other lines, or they'll find it very difficult to advance in the playoffs this year.
And that's what they have been looking for. They're also missing Peter Swoboda, who came from the Montreal Canadiens to Buffalo, an outstanding offensive defenseman. John Muckler says he is a huge loss, and injury has put him out for the rest of this season. So they're not going to get Swoboda back, and they haven't been able to cut a deal yet to fill his position. The announcement is taking as long as it did to sort it out. And right now, the Canadiens up on the board are going to be shorthanded by 2 men again, according to what they've got on the board. They've got a double minor penalty up against Gilbert Dion, who certainly earned it, and another against J.J. Daigneault, and nothing up for Buffalo. So if that's the way it stays, we're going to have another 2-man advantage coming, Jack Edwards.
All right, Gary, blown 3-goal lead seems to be the theme of the night because Calgary was up 3-0 against San Jose, but John Carter lights the lamp. And what do you know? The Sharks are back in it. They tied it 3-3. They're in the second period at the Olympic Saddledome. Gary?
All right, it is a two-man advantage again for the Buffalo Sabres, trailing 4-2. McGillney in the shot. Wow, the save. Kirk Muller clears it out.
Did you see Desjardins play that? He gave the shooter solely to Waugh. That is great confidence in your goaltender. He made sure McGillney could not make the cross-ice pass. It's a one-on-one McGillney-Waugh. Waugh won that one.
LaFontaine to McGillney. McGillney back to Howardchuk. Ledyard back to Howardchuk. Two-man advantage for Buffalo again. Shot and a save by Waugh. Shot and a save McGillney. Shot and a save Sweeney. Patrick Waugh.
How quickly he gets square to the shooter, how quickly he gets square to the rebound. They get two whacks at it, and he covers the puck up. Waugh doing everything that's expected of him as a Montreal goaltender. We talk about their great defensive teams here in the Pat Burns area. One of the big reasons, probably the biggest reason, is the play of Patrick Waugh. He does it time after time, game after game, and he stays right with it and smothers that one to keep the Sabres off the board on this power play to this point.
Now, this is not only a two-man advantage. There's a double minor on the board that was picked up by Dion, along with the J.J. Daniel two-minute minor. So it's a long two-man advantage and a long power play change. 16:41 to go, second period. Canadiens are leading at 4-2. They are being outshot now by Buffalo, 17-16. Mike Keane and LaFontaine on the draw. Pat LaFontaine won it to Ledyard, to Howardchuk, to Ledyard. Alexander McGillney, Sweeney's in front of the net. LaFontaine, Waugh blocked the pass. LaFontaine was sneaking in on the weak side. Sweeney over to Howardchuk. LaFontaine. He and McGillney just go back and forth. Wherever the puck is, the person on the far side goes to that offside post and waits for the pass. Down low, LaFontaine again. LaFontaine all the way around does the 360. Howardchuk shot deflected off Mike Keane. Kirk Muller tips it away from LaFontaine. Sweeney moved in. LaFontaine trying to hit McGillney. Went off Desjardins. Ledyard picking it up. Alexander McGillney leading the league with 62 goals. Lost it on the pass, and Mike Keane is able to clear it out.
Keane and Muller doing an excellent job in the Sabre point, and Desjardins stopping any cross-ice passes from LaFontaine to McGillney.
Ledyard back to Sweeney. Howardchuk stays back at the blue line. Howardchuk tipped out by McGillney as he was trying to set him on the post. Still 23 seconds on the first two-minute minor. 4-2 Canadiens. As knowledgeable a hockey crowd as you'll find anywhere. This is the Forum in Montreal. ESPN's National Hockey Night, and what a game we've had. We aren't even halfway through it yet. There you see the shots on goal. The power play continues. The Buffalo Sabres have 23 seconds left on the two-man advantage. LaFontaine dropped it back to Ledyard. We'll get you updated on all those penalties. We'll tell you Lyle Odeline has been thrown out of the game. Odeline, among those who picked up penalties, got an instigator of fighting in the game. Hannon, 2 for fighting. Carney, 5 for fighting. Hannon, 2 for roughing. Audette, 2 for roughing. Waugh plays it out of the zone. Bodger, 2 for roughing. Then Odeline of Montreal got the gamer with the two-minute instigator. Dion, the double minor for roughing. J.J. Daniel, 2 for roughing. Waugh, 2 for roughing. Ronan, 2 for roughing. You'll be tested as soon as this game is complete. Rolls wide of the net. Daniel could not get it out. LaFontaine was there, got driven off the puck and cleared out of the zone.
Jacques Demers made a good adjustment. In the first period, the Sabres had a 5-on-3. He had 2 defensemen and a forward. This time he had 1 defenseman and 2 forwards. Both times they did an exceptional job of killing that penalty.
Now it's a 5-on-4 power play. Shot from the point, LaFontaine. Wow, the save, it deflected. Good play as J.J. Daniel, his defenseman, had hit off his skate, and Waugh found it. Still a minute 17 on the power play, Jack.
All right, Gary, in Quebec, a big surprise. Pat Verbeek trying to wrap it around. The puck comes loose. Jeff Sanderson scores his 31st of the year, his second of the night, and from 3-0 down, the Whalers now lead 4-3. Gary?
Well, that would be an upset if you take a look at the standings, because you're talking about what probably is going to be the most improved team in the National Hockey League if Quebec continues at the current pace.
Patrick Roy doing what he's been doing all night long, making the initial save and smothering the rebound so the Sabres don't get a second crack at it.
Roy has won all 3 games against Montreal this season. He is 19-11-4 lifetime against the Buffalo Sabres. Patrick Roy, of course, one of the outstanding goaltenders already in NHL history. 220 wins, 120 losses, and 48 ties. Bodger had it deflect. Mike Keane, Bodger and LaFontaine. Muller joins the crowd. 1:08 left on the power play. And cleared out of the zone again. Kevin Haller was there to clear.
2-on-2 situation. The Sabres have the man advantage. They've got to get their third guy over there to come up with that loose puck. There's no sense waiting and hoping someone's going to get it and feed you in the open. Outnumber your opponent. You have the extra man.
Alexander McGillney for the Sabres. 50 on the power play. McGillney, bad pass. Mike Keane sends it out. Kirk Miller was trying to break LaFontaine. Tied him up. Played it behind the net by Grant Fuhr. Schmelik goes back to get it for the Buffalo Sabres. 4-2 Canadiens, 35 on this power play. McGillney, LaFontaine, and he crisscrossed. McGillney looking. LaFontaine was covered down low. Schmelik over to Bodger. Bodger, Himalev, LaFontaine, and McGillney down low. That's LaFontaine. Patty dropped it. Cleared by Lehman. Brisebois had the intercept.
The cross-ice pass not working. McGillney tried to move into the heart of the box. The Habs closed the box a little bit and shut that lane down as well.
Schmelik sends it in for the second time tonight. There is no scoring by Buffalo on a 2-man advantage, and the whole thing's over. Even strength as the Canadian fans respond to Montreal's penalty killing. They got it done. Shot in on Fuhr by Belanger. Played behind the net by Hannon. Hannon up to McGillney. So we're back to even strength. 5-on-5. Canadiens have preserved their 2-goal lead. Sent in by Schmelik. Patrick Roy thought about stopping it. Desjardins came back to help out Hannon. Hannon centered, fanned on point. Ledyard saved by Roy. And cleared out by Ronan. Ledyard at the far end. Pushes it by Belanger. Both teams now trying to get some people out who haven't played a lot because the people have been using have played the whole game. Their first 6 forwards and 4 defensemen both ways. Held in, Hannon in the corner, hit by Hill. Puck's underneath him. Comes free behind the net. Desjardins moved in and tipped it away. It'll just be run up and out of the zone. Canadiens. Jesse Belanger got it out. Collision at center. Hill and Ledyard. Ledyard came away with it. Ledyard will dump it in. Wow. For the first time tonight, the game almost settles down to a pace. We haven't had that. Ronan sends it in. Grant Fuhr going back to get it. 19-17, the shots in favor of the Sabres. And it's the Canadiens who are up by 2. Raised pass knocked down by DiPietro. Intercepted, sent right back in by Schmelik. Patrick Roy dropped it off. Daniel could not handle it. Sent around to Brisebois on the near side. Patrice Brisebois. Banged out of the zone. Nope. Sweeney able to hold it in, but not for long. Roberge gets it up ice. DiPietro going back to get it. It's the hit from Bodger. Looking for Ewan in front of the net. Pass blocked by Sutton, and a penalty coming up in front as Ewan's going at it with Howard-Chuck. Howard-Chuck took a stick to the mouth, but I think the penalty is going to be on Howard-Chuck. We'll find out when we come back. Well, we're going to get matching minors picked up here as Sweeney and Ewan, who are going at it in front of the net. They'll go to the penalty box, and they'll have matching 2-minute minors as the sheet gets longer on the penalty side.
Is this our first look at a 4-on-4? We've had everything else. 5-on-3, 5-on-4.
See if it lasts for very long. Kevin Haller, 4-on-4 right now. He cleared it around the boards. Eric Desjardins held it in. Fuhr, trouble in front. Puck rolls free. Desjardins backs in. All alone. Shot saved by Fuhr. Brian Bellows, after his 4th goal of the game, all alone with Grant Fuhr. And Fuhr made the save. Good play by Fuhr. Desjardins, the center. Damphousse out with Bellows. Desjardins cleared around near side Bellows. Bellows dropped it, shot Fuhr, the save again on Damphousse. And cleared out of the zone.
That's just bad coverage by the Sabres. 4-on-4, you get a man, you mark him, you stay with him. You can't just let the Canadiens freewheel in your zone the way the Sabres are.
Himalev's got it behind the net. Patrick Roy looking. Trying to find the puck. Gets some help from Dampus. Held in by Howardchuk. 4-on-4 still. Howardchuk drops it. Himmelev's shot. Deflected. Off, behind, and out on Patrick Waugh. Turnaround shot. Waugh the save, but it came outside the zone as Howardchuk wound up. That puck went everywhere but in. Bring up to date our Budweiser scoreboard. Hartford still has a lead against Quebec in Quebec. Rangers, big game for them against Edmonton. Tied at the end of 2 in Calgary. Minnesota, St. Louis battling for a playoff spot. They're running out of time. Later tonight. That's our Budweiser scoreboard.
Eric Desjardins having himself a tremendous game for the Canadiens tonight. Feeds the puck beside the net. There's Dampus. And Bellows is coming in. And Fuhr clears it out of trouble. Desjardins gets it back. And there's Bellows one-on-one. Fuhr stands his ground and makes a very important save for the Buffalo Sabres.
Bellows has had 2 4-goal games in his career. He already has picked up the pure hat trick in this one, coming in that first period. Canadiens back. Muller winds up, takes it, missed it on the short side on Fuhr, and it ricochets off the glass and into the seats.
Gary, I'm very impressed with the play of the Canadian defensemen. They have had a sound game in their own end of the rink. They've done an excellent job killing penalties, moving men from in front of their goaltender, and they've joined the rush extremely well. They've been in a lot of offensive plays. And when you consider that outside of Daniel, who's 27, the rest are 24 or younger, this is a defense that the league is going to have to reckon with for years to come. They aren't finished improving. They're going to get better and better as this season progresses throughout the playoffs and the next couple of years before they reach their peak.
Well, they're still missing probably their best. Matthew Snyder, who is not playing out with the injury, is only 23 years old. What a great future they have in front of them. McGillney on the intercept, dropped it. LaFontaine to McGillney. Wow, knocked it away. The Canadiens popped it over the blue line, but the Sabres were unable to convert. They jumped on it. Kirk Muller coming ahead, still 4-on-4. Muller by Ledger, tried to run it back in. Had it deflected away by Keith Carney, who dove in. Ledger to center, McGillney. Knocked away from him, Brisebois. Mike Keane picks it up. 2 minutes left, 2 seconds left on those magic minors. Dropped off for Muller again. Muller a little room shot. Blocker save made by Grant Fuhr. Penalties over. And we're back to 5-on-5. Sweeney ahead to LaFontaine. Back to McGillney. Shot! Hit the post! Hit the wide side post! Todd Ewan the other way. Now we're running and gunning. Ewan to Hill. Hill looking. Lehman tipped wide. Ewan gets up. Tries to get the shot off and can't. McGillney the puck. Lost it. Lehman. Lehman turnaround shot. Blocked deep by Sutton into the seats.
Well, we had our lull. It lasted about 15 seconds where they were playing neutral zone hockey, then right back to activity, end-to-end, great scoring chances and great saves by both goaltenders.
That LaFontaine having himself just one magnificent year. He's going to set all kinds of records on a pace for 153 points, which would be a new scoring record, as Perreault currently holds it at 113 for Buffalo, so he's going to beat that by a country mile. He's also probably going to beat Howardchuk's assist mark. Howardchuk had 75 assists, a Buffalo record last year. Pat LaFontaine is on a pace right now for 99 assists and 153 points, adding 2 goals in tonight's game. Face off to the point. Daniel's shot blocked out deep. Rebound. Audette just left it off. Audette will get it back on the near side. Audette running it down low. Taking away DiPietro. DiPietro turning with Ewan. 2-on-3 though. DiPietro. Great pass. Todd Ewan. Ewan shot. Saved by Fuhr. What a beautiful pass to Todd Ewan.
DiPietro does a wonderful job coming back. He back checks all the way, strips the Sabres of the puck, then leads the rush. It's a 2-on-3. He makes it a breakaway for Todd Ewan. He comes in a pretty good move, but he can't get the puck high enough. As Fuhr stays with him, goes down, and it's shot into Grant's chest. DiPietro, what a great play defensively and offensively to set Ewan in on that breakaway.
DiPietro playing in the Ontario Hockey League at Sudbury for 4 seasons, and with Fredericton of the AHL. Prior to this year, had only 33 games in the National Hockey League, and DiPietro probably wouldn't be playing very much, but for the injuries of the Canadiens.
Give a guy a chance, and you never know how he's going to excel. And this guy has made, that's about the 3rd great play he's made tonight. So he's making his presence felt. Who knows, when the guys come back, he might be a fellow that keeps the job.
Only 22 years old, too. That's how deep this organization continues to be. Brought up by Howard-Chuck. Howard-Chuck the shot. Wide of Patrick Waugh. Sutton on the far side. Ewan knocked it away from him behind the net. Howard-Chuck had it. Howard-Chuck avoiding Ewing. Centers. Hannon back to the point. Bodger's shot. Wristed wide. Knocked down in front of the net. Presley that time. Third to Ewan. Ewan's got DiPietro with him. Trying to return the favor on the pass. Hannon knocked it away to Presley. Presley up to Howard-Chuck. Canadians up 4-2. 8:05 to go. Second period. Hannon moving in. Centered for Howard-Chuck. Lost it. Puck comes free. 1-on-1, 2-on-1 the other way. Roberge with DiPietro. Drops it. DiPietro. Blocked by Grant Ledyard. And he keeps the puck underneath him.
Great play by Ledyard. A courageous block. And that could have been an excellent scoring chance for the Montreal Canadiens.
7:53 to go. Second period at the Forum, ESPN's National Hockey. Pat LaFontaine wins the faceoff. Buffalo Sabres down by 2, but lots of time left in this wide-open hockey game. Himalev brings it in. Himalev, shot, save, rebound. Muller kicked it away to the far side boards. Alexander McGillney turned it in. Off Mike Keane to center. Played by Ledyard. Ledyard dumps it right back into the zone. A furious pace by two teams. Both of them have team speed. LaFontaine from behind on the check. Muller got it back. Keane, poke checked away from him by Ledyard. Muller knocked it again up front. Muller's got it onside. Nope, Leclaire couldn't reach it. Leclaire held it to Muller in the corner to Keane. Keane kicked at LaFontaine. Down they go. Puck still free. LaFontaine hauls it in. Leclaire trying to dig it out. So's Keane. LaFontaine just pulls it back in. Fans wanted a delay call, but they won't get it there. Jack Edwards.
All right, as you said earlier, Gary, a really important one for the Rangers. They enter the night 1 point behind New Jersey in the race for third in the Patrick division. At Edmonton, Mark Messier feeds Tony Amonte his 26th of the season. It is 1-0 Rangers through 2 periods. Back to Gary at the Forum.
And Edmonton trying to fight for a playoff spot as well, but for the New York Rangers, with the games that have already been finished with the Devils winning, you see their position in New Jersey, Rangers and Islanders very much in a battle with 4 of those teams going to the playoff. We'll follow those New York Rangers home, and it may be Mario Lemieux on the ice again. The Pittsburgh Penguins and the New York Rangers. 7:30 Eastern next Friday night. ESPN's National Hockey Night from the Garden. Saved by Sutton in behind the net. 6:50 left to go in this second period. Shots are up to 27-21 now in favor of the Canadiens. Wow, watching that screamer go wide by Donald Audette. Jimmy said earlier, Audette's trying to make a point tonight for his coach, his teammates, and everybody else, that he wants to be on this team. Play back in. Down boost, centering, Bellows, shot, score! He's got 4 goals tonight!
The Habs getting all 5 men back in the defensive zone to shut the Sabres down, and then very quickly on the transition, they attack the Buffalo goaltender. A nice feed from Dompoust, and a little backhander. A soft goal beats Grant Fuhr. Fuhr is there. Here comes a shot off the skate. Fuhr's got to make that save, Gary. He's got to make that save.
Bellows now has scored 5 goals and has 4 assists, 9 points in 5 games against Buffalo this season. Brian Bellows, standing ovation. Third time in his career he has had a 4-goal game. The last one was against Chicago. Hannon. What a night for Brian Bellows. Hannon kicking at it. Controlled by Presley. Presley bringing it in for the Sabres, who are now down by 3 to a Canadiens team that can shut you down when they've got a lead offside on Montreal.
Well, full marks to Serge Savard. They wanted offensive producers. The offseason he went out, got Bellows, Dompoust. They're the only Canadians that have hat-tricks this year. Dompoust with 2, Bellows with 1. And here he is again. What a night for Brian Bellows. And then they pick up Lehman, a former 50-goal scorer, and he looks like he's found new life and a happy home here in Montreal. They are definitely a team to be reckoned with come playoff time.
Bellows had 30 goals last season. He now has 31 this year. first year with the Canadiens after 10 years in Minnesota. The 28-year-old has put on a show here tonight. Haller sends it in. 5-2 Montreal. Grant Fuhr has been hit up by the Canadiens, and he's back-to-back games. 6 last night and already 5 tonight. Ledyard putting the hit on Leclerc. Ledyard kicked it away to McGillney in the corner. McGillney just bangs it off the near side dasher. Played by Kirk Muller in the zone. And this is where the Canadiens also separate themselves from some other teams. You think they're done. They're just feeling their oats. They know where the juggler is, and once they think they've got a hold of it, they don't let up. Mike Keane moving in. Keane centering shot, score! Kirk Muller!
The Forum fans are absolutely loving it. If anyone in the league wondered if you could intimidate the Montreal Canadiens, last night's game and tonight's game, if you're watching, the answer is absolutely not. Muller open in front of the net, beats Fuhr to the long side. A nice pass from Keane, stays with it. Through a maze of players, Kirk Muller, a reward for his effort. And the two words are almost synonymous, Muller and effort. Everywhere he has played as a junior in the National Hockey League, whether it's practice, a preseason game, or the last game of the finals, you'll get one thing out of Kirk Muller, his absolute best, and boy, is he giving it to the Montreal Canadiens. McGillney's fishing for the puck there. You've got to turn around and take a man. That's not the time to try to play the puck off your skate. Even if you stop it, you're out of position to do anything. The Sabres' defensive zone coverage tonight has been virtually non-existent.
And the frustration of the Sabres shows up again. Brad May on the next faceoff has drawn the penalty. For Buckler, do you leave Grant Fuhr in? Down 6-2, 5:23 to go here in the second period. Kirk Muller giving the Canadiens their 6th on the night. And the 4-goal lead. Mike Keane the assist. 14:35 the time of the goal. Brisebois got it, and the Canadiens are back on the power play again. So they've got a chance to expand it with May going out. Bellows sent it in. Downfus saved by Fuhr. And the rebound is cleared out of the zone. Schmelik got it out. Haller drops it off. Brisebois sends it on the far side. Canadiens deep in their own end, setting up the power play. Bellows out there has got a chance for a 5-goal game. Sent back in by Keith Carney. Waugh having trouble. Brisebois picks it up. The fans just ecstatic over the performance by their Canadiens here tonight. Kevin Haller sends it in. Chase down in the corner. Keith Carney around the boards, not out. Hill stepped up after he got hit by Presley. Sent it to the point. Haller looking in the middle for Bellows. Haller back over to Hill. Sean Hill, the shot deflected. Fuhr the save as Downfus was there. Over to Hill. 57 left on the power play. Hill can't hold it in. Had Presley all over it. Canadiens clear the zone. Gary Lehman backs it up for himself. And Lehman sends it into Downfus. Can he stick handle or what? Hill in the corner with Presley on it. Lehman has shown us some great hands and stick handling ability here in this game. Canadiens lead at 6-2. Let's go back to our studios.
All right, Gary, a stunning turnaround at Calgary. 16 seconds into the third period. John Carter from about 75 feet. Jeff Reese thinks he has it. No, he gets through. 4-3 San Jose after they were down 3-0. Gary?
Teams with a lot to prove, like Ottawa, San Jose, playing tough without a lot to show for it. Here with 4:01 to go in the second period, the Montreal Canadiens, that incredible turnaround offensively. This team averaging 4.09 goals a game. It's going to go up. The 6th best offense in the league, tied for 4th on defense in goals against the Buffalo team, which is #1 in offense, but which is being shut down right now after a couple of early goals as LaFontaine had tied the game up in the first period, then picked up their 2nd goal also in the first period off power plays, and since then it has been all Montreal. And down behind the net, they will get a whistle here with 3:55 left to go in the second period from the Forum, which is a fire because it's 6-2 Canadiens. Montreal adding 2 goals in the second period. Bellows at 13:28. Damphus and Hill. Muller's 31st at 14:35. Mike Keane had the assist on it. The 6-2 lead with 3:50 to go here in this second period. That'll give some of the Canadiens players who've been on the bench a little more ice time here. Dion lost it to Bodger. Muller got it back to him. Dion, Muller, and Leclerc on this line now. Muller drops it off again. Kurt Muller. Muller waiting for the setup in front. 9 seconds left in the power play. Shot on Hill. Save Fuhr. Rebound. Score! Dion wrapped in the rebound. It is 7-2.
And Grant Fuhr has just been given a penalty by Don Koharski. After that goal, Fuhr looked at Koharski, threw his arms up in the air with a stick. Koharski wasted no time. What a great play by Muller. Good patience. He hangs on to the puck, And again, the Canadiens outnumber the Sabres in front of the Sabre net. And they're there to put the rebound past Grant Fuhr. 2 Canadiens, 1 Sabre defender. Results in a Montreal goal.
7-2. And the Buffalo Sabres need to regroup. Watch Grant Fuhr after the goal, saying, I'm sure, how come there weren't a lot of people in the crease that you didn't call that long color jerseys on?
I don't know if he's upset with Don Koharski or if he's just upset with himself. He has not had a good performance, especially by Grant Fuhr standards, but by any goaltending standards tonight, Fuhr has not had a sharp game.
John Muckler's club, after losing last night at home, trying to make the point against the Canadiens, and they're losing it. They lost it last night, and they're losing it tonight, and maybe even more important.
They've tried a skating game against the Canadiens. They've tried shutting things down defensively. He felt his team had to play a tough physical game to find a way to beat the Canadiens. That's not working. What do? This is probably the team you're going to face first round of the playoffs. I would love to be inside John Muckler's head right now to see what's going on. He has to be very concerned about his team.
And discipline, I think most of all. You must maintain your discipline in this game if you intend to compete at it. And when you lose discipline, you're seeing what happens. The Canadiens are just pouring it on. Dion getting the goal. It came at 16:34 to give the Canadiens the 7-2 lead on sportsmanlike conduct. Same time on Fuhr. And right back on the power play go the Buffalo Sabres.
The danger in a score like this from the Sabre point of view is that this game could get ugly if they don't get back into it with a goal or two to keep it close. They probably feel they have nothing to lose, and they still have some heavyweights left in the bench. We'll wait and see what transpires. I think it would be a futile effort because the Canadiens are not a team you're going to push around, especially here in the Montreal Forum.
Koharski's trying to get Buffalo to send somebody over to serve this penalty. May is in the penalty box and is now coming out. He was in there for his own penalty, and they weren't going to leave him, so they bring Himalev over to serve it. And
this
now
is
the power play.
That's the play in front of Fuhr. There's Dion coming in, and he gets tangled up with Fuhr. But Fuhr's stick actually pulled Dion's skate into the crease. I don't believe it was Dion that interfered with Fuhr. I think it was Fuhr who interfered with Dion, and that's not easy to say.
A power play again for the Montreal Canadiens. They already lead 7-2. Dropped off Damphus, centered shot, save made on Bellows, who almost had his 5th goal of the night. Bellows again looking. Lehman back to him, trying to center Damphus. The Canadiens want Bellows to shoot. They want him to score some more. There he is in the corner from Damphus. Centering Damphus. His pass. They're just passing now. Nobody wants they want the goal. Shot wide. Lehman near side. Teamwork personified here now. Everybody wants everybody else to get points. McGillney goes around Bellows. Moving in on Hill. McGillney the shot blocked by Hill. He stands Bellows up, and Kevin Haller comes back to get the puck. 59 left on the power play. Chance for the Canadiens. Haller in. Haller tried to drop it off. McGillney was there. Cleared it out. Picked up by Bob Sweeney. Sweeney moving in. Poke checked away from him by Brisebois. Lehman gets hauled down. Koharski will let the call go since the Sabres are already short-handed. Center ice, Kirk Muller back out. Over to Brisebois. Patrice Brisebois down the middle. Leclerc backed it up, intended from Muller, who tipped it in on goal. Muller took it right off the Buffalo defenseman's stick and tipped it in on Grant Fuhr. 27 left on the Canadiens power play. And our storyline here tonight, Montreal Canadiens, Bellows, third time in his career, a 4-goal game and may not be done. League's leading scorer, Pat LaFontaine, now has 41, 89 total penalty minutes. 5 of 9 on power plays here tonight. 5 of the 9 goals have come on power plays, and no wonder. On that last goal, the assists on Dion's went to Hill and Muller. Bellows almost had his 5th goal as Fuhr made a save on this power play chance for Montreal.
The last Canadian to score 4 goals was Mats Naslund in '84, and the last with 5, Yvonne Cornway, way back in 1975.
Now we're talking some names. Sent in around the boards. Hannon over to get it for the Sabres. Couldn't. Muller along the point. Desjardins. Brisebois. Muller. Muller takes it. Hannon blocked it. 8 seconds left on the power play. Leclerc blocking the runaround. Leclerc looking in front for Muller. Goes to Kirk Muller. Power play is over. Back to even strength. Desjardins shot wide. Rebound just went by. Even strength here. Leclerc realizing it. Turns back to the boards. Blocked by Bodger momentarily to Muller. It is even strength. Leclerc knocked down. Shot over the net. Canadiens look like they're still on the power play even though they are not. Gilbert Dion had the chance. Save made and Fuhr covers up with Dion moving in. Sweeney knocks him down from behind.
Doug Bodger and Leclerc mixing it up. Leclerc says enough of this, and he just tosses Bodger down. The Canadiens look almost invincible here in the second period. They're winning every battle along the boards, in the corners. They're strong in front of the net. They're back in their zone before the Sabres can attack. They're countering quick. A terrific, terrific period by the Montreal Canadiens, and a frustrated Grant Fuhr in net will be looking to make some of the Canadiens pay the price for standing in front of his net. There's Dion, where you want him to be. And Fuhr will be smacking and smacking. Boom, there's a two-hander. Could easily be called as a penalty. Kaharski probably feels the Sabres have been in the penalty box enough tonight. I'm going to let that one go. And Fuhr is still jawing with Kaharski right now. Kaharski saying, get away and go stop the puck. I'm not here to talk to you. I'm here to officiate, and you're here to prevent the Canadiens from scoring goals.
Montreal 3 of 7 on the power play. Buffalo's 2 for 8. The Canadiens leading 7-2. A minute 4 left to go in the second period. Face-off one to the point. J.J. Daniel shot deflected in the corner off Hill. DiPietro's played a strong game. He dumps it back behind the net. Tried to center Todd Ewan out in front. And Himmelev moves up and gets it out. Under a minute now to go in this period. Himmelev in. Himmelev. Daniel was there with him near side. Hill can't touch it up. He'll come back, pick it up along the boards. Pushes it up to the blue line, and we come 2-on-2 the other way. Robert drops it for Daniel, and Daniel just dumps it wide of Grant Fuhr. Ledyard picking it up. #1 team in the National Hockey League, the Montreal Canadiens. The most goals scored against them this season, 8. By who? Buffalo. Score here, 7-2 Canadiens. Ledyard wound up, took too long. Presley back to him. Ledyard just can't get a stick on it. Poked away by Belanger. Ewan coming. Ewan, Roberge with him. Roberge! Shot saved by Fuhr! Grant Fuhr denying that 8th goal for the moment. Under 10 left to go in the period, and that's the end of 2.
Todd Ewan, who is a heavyweight for the Canadiens, making some nifty passes in tonight's game. DiPietro, with limited ice time, has made his presence felt each and every time on the ice. Here are the 2 sluggers for the Canadiens, but they can play hockey. A great pass and a good shot. Pass from Ewan, shot from Auberge. And boy, the Canadiens dominated the Sabres once again.
A tremendous second period, and the Canadiens lead it 7-2. Jack?
All right, Gary, thanks very much. As Bill Clement said before tonight's game, the Canadiens are a happy bunch of hockey players, and they're certainly playing that way tonight. Some stunning turnarounds in the NHL this evening. Let's begin in Quebec, where the Hartford Whalers fell behind the Nordiques by a 3-0 score, but they did not give up. Jeff Sanderson from the slot rips it through, and yes, the Whalers come all the way back and win it 5-3. The Nordiques had fallen away, are now in second place in the Adams division, 7 points behind Montreal, 6 ahead of Boston. The Rangers and the Oilers, it was 0-0 through the first period, and in the second, Ed Olczyk with some good work, and then Mark Messier in front to Tony Amonte. He pulls the trigger, and they are now in the third period, 1-0. The Broadways up in that one. Edmonton, 8 points behind Winnipeg for the fourth and final playoff spot in the Smythe division. The Sharks and the Flames, it was 3-0 Calgary. Then it comes back to a 4-3 lead for San Jose. Robert Reichel, around and around and around he goes, and where he stops, only Brett Ashton knows. His second of the night. Calgary 4 points behind Vancouver for first place in the Smythe going into tonight's action. Minnesota against St. Louis. It was 1-0 North Stars after the first period, and in the second, Brett Hull connects, and it's 2-1 for the Blues. Minnesota leads St. Louis by 7 points for fourth place in the Norris division. Coming up, Mr. Morganti. Al's in the corner, and so is Pat Verbeek. There may be some interest in Verbeek as we head toward the playoffs. Stick around. ESPN's National Hockey Night continues up in Montreal. It's the Canadiens up 7-2 on Buffalo.
National Hockey Night is presented by the New Dodge, a division of the Chrysler Corporation.
Well, through 2 periods up at the Forum, it is Montreal 7 and Buffalo 2. I'm Jack Edwards. In the middle is Bill Clement, and Al's in the corner. And last week you told us that there wouldn't be any hockey dream team, and they have announced that that's true. There won't be any NHL stars playing for the United States and Canada and other countries in the Olympics. And this week?
No, there won't. There will be in '98, however. But this week, you'll be hearing this week officially that the expansion team comes in. Those Ducks in Anaheim will come in, and the Miami team will come into the league. And you're going to also hear there's no stopping it. The Minnesota North Stars are going to go south. I don't know if they're going to come to Lone Stars or whatever, but they're headed for Texas. In matters with teams that are staying put, Wayne Gretzky got a lot of flack for his slow start, but he's answering the critics. Took off that flak jacket to protect the bad back. 10 points in a 5-game road trip. The Kings are looking pretty good now because the Winnipeg Jets have really hit some turbulence. Alexei Zhamnov has been out 3 weeks, going to be out another 3 with a bad back. Teppo Numminen out 6. They're in trouble. They are going to have some trouble keeping in the playoff race because they need that defenseman Numminen, very underrated. Now, teams not going to playoffs. This is Kevin Dineen. He could get a lot of interest by teams that are going to the playoffs because the Flyers need some help in the future. Pat Verbeek, he's hot. Teams are going to be looking at him. But the guy that I think is going to get the most interest, this guy on the Hartford Whalers, Murray Craven. He's a very good player. He's a universal player. He can play a lot of positions. I think the Pittsburgh Penguins are going to be looking at Craven to maybe fill in on a point on a power play because he can play power play, penalty kill. The Calgary Flames may have interest to fill in for Gary Roberts. He'll be moved. Other guys from weak teams that the good team's going to be looking at now, guys like Adam Creighton from Tampa, Norm McIver from Ottawa, maybe Kelly Kissio from San Jose. Before the end of this 3-week period, you're going to see some movement.
All right, Al, so those are players that might be making transitions, going to teams in trades, but how about players that are making transitions coming off the injured list and perhaps helping their teams that way, Bill?
I think there are 3 teams right now in the NHL that have to get one of their players back in order to do anything in the playoffs. They can get to the playoffs without them, but once the playoffs start, they need them. Obviously, Pittsburgh with Mario Lemieux, and it looks like they're going to get him back in a short period of time. I thought Pittsburgh could win it without Mario Lemieux until a couple of weeks ago, but they have proven to me and just about everybody else that they are, in fact, mortal. Al mentioned Gary Roberts. They may try to trade to replace Gary Roberts, but they need him back. A leg operation. He will not be back until perhaps the second round of the playoffs. So that if they can get by the first round, they'll be okay. He was their leading scorer, their leading point total guy, and also their leading penalty minute guy, so he was a tough guy as well. Rangers need Brian Leetch back. I mean, no two ways about it. The Norris Trophy winner, Brian Leetch, can do it all for them. And the good news for the Rangers is he is expected back sometime mid to the end of the month of March, so he'll be able to get it into full gear by the time the playoffs start. But those 3 teams need those 3 players. Yeah,
those last 2 teams of which you spoke, the Rangers and Calgary, playing last night to a 4-4 tie, and the Rangers up 1-0 in the third period. Montreal leads Buffalo 7-2 through 2, and when ESPN's National Hockey Night continues, the plays of the week and some real beauties for you. Welcome back to ESPN's National Hockey Night. Our game, it's Buffalo at Montreal, and the Sabres are taking it on the chin. It's 7-2 in the second intermission. Any excuse we can find to get Tina Turner into plays of the week is a valid one, so here we go. They give awards to hits at the Grammys, and we've got some award-winning hits on the plays of the week. Pavel Bure getting tagged by Keith Tkachuk. That was in Vancouver. The two teams play again in Winnipeg, and hello again. Some ups and some downs. Ulf Samuelsson knocking Claude Lemieux down the conventional way. Now Steve Duchesne going up and over Scott Stevens. Joseph Baranek gets the view of the entire arena. There's the ceiling. There's the ice. Billy Guerin dumping him there. Goalkeeping highlights. Billy Smith's number retired. Everybody hack each other across the ankles to commemorate that. Career minor leaguer, 33-year-old Rick Knickel has waited long enough to get into the NHL. Peter Sidorkovich left alone to defend against Mike Keane. Valerie Zelepukin in front. Stefan Bissett says, not this time. You're not going in the highway. Joe Mullen has Craig Billington. Not negative, nay, no, he won't get it. 2-on-0, Eric Lindros and Mark Recchi, but the 2-on-0 becomes a 2-on-no. The obligatory penalty shot of the week. Steve Malte going in on Ed Belfort, denied. Goal scoring, Cam Neely is back, and he makes his impact known.
Juno right out for Wesley. Wesley shot in, but loose. Neely scores! Cam Neely! Power play goal! 2-0 Boston!
Owen Nolan with some sweet stuff around Bruce Driver. Sweeter still around Chris Terreri. Peter Bondra, unbelievable individual work. Gets knocked down on the check. Pops the puck up, juggles it in the air, settles it, uses the screen, and rifles it home. But top honors go to Alexander McGillney, the first to 60 goals this season.
There's Dave Hannon from the top of the slot, firing it. Cheveldae getting a piece of it. McGillney reversing position. Scores!
National Hockey Night continues. Canadiens up 7-2 on Buffalo through 2 periods. Good offense for the Habs, but the D looks pretty shiny too.
Not bad D, especially on the penalty killing. They've given up 2 goals. I still like what they're doing. If nothing else, they've kept Alexander McGillney off the board, and they really play an aggressive style when they're killing penalties. You can see their 2 forwards lined up out here next to the 2 Buffalo point men, but what they're doing is they're protecting this seam. This is Bodger looking to McGillney, but not having enough room to get it through, so they have to go to the outside. Once again, it comes over to Himmelev. What's he looking at? He wants to get it through this seam, but he can't because Gary Lehman has moved back in. So they keep Buffalo on the outside, and finally Himmelev moves it into the corner. Watch this terrific play by Patrice Brisebois. See him moving up. Here's Brisebois. The reason he's moving up is he knows that there's only one place that the Buffalo player can go to. That's back to the point. Where the X is, there are no Buffalo players, so he can force the guy out, and that's what he did. They ended up breaking up the play. So it's one thing to be aggressive. It's another thing to be smart and aggressive, and Montreal does both of those.
Yeah, and they're up 7-2 through 2 periods. We're going to go back to the Forum to Gary Thorne and Jim Schoenfeld for the play-by-play after this.
National Hockey Night is brought to you by coal-filtered Miller Genuine Draft. Get out of the old, get into the cold. By the new Dodge, a division of the Chrysler Corporation. And by Visa, honored at over 6 million more places than American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
The Forum in Montreal. Gary Thorne, Jim Schoenfeld as we get set for the 3rd period. And our Miller Genuine Draft Light scoring summary. Are we ready? Bellows 27-116. Danfus Desjardins, Montreal up. Game gets tied up. LaFontaine got his 40th. Bodger and Himmelev 315. Bellows gets his 28th. Lehman and DiPietro on the power play. It came at 6:48. Dion picking up his 14th. Belanger and Haller even strength. 13:49. LaFontaine second of the game. 15:55. 41 on the year for him. Sweeney got the assist. 17-16. Bellows 29th. Lehman and Desjardins even strength first period. In the second period, Bellows got his 30th. Danfus and Hill even strength. 13:28. Muller's 31st. Keane 14:35. Even strength. 16:34. Leclerc's 14th. Hill and Muller on the assist. 7-2. And that is our score. New goaltender in. They have pulled Grant Fuhr out of the game. Fuhr is out. Dominic Hasek is now in the net. for the Buffalo Sabres. 31 shots against Grant Fuhr, 7 goals. And believe it or not, we're actually starting this period even strength 5-on-5. McGillney drops it in the middle. Desjardins turns it back to Haller. Kevin Haller's pass knocked down. Himalev's got it. Himalev moving back. So it's Patrick Roy now and Dominic Hasek, the two goaltenders. Himalev moves to the red line, intercepted by Leclerc. Leclerc got knocked off the puck. Muller takes it back. Muller coming 3-on-2, drops it. Keane shot wide of Hasek. Rebound came all the way to center. Himalev drops it off. LaFontaine hanging back. Couldn't get the break. Patrick Roy just holds it up. Roy pushing it around with one arm even on McGillney. Played by Mike Keane. Keane drops it to Leclerc. John Leclerc. His shot blocked by Sutton way back.
Very important for the Sabres to play this period with a lot of intensity. Win or lose, they have to play this period hard so they can leave this building with some degree of respectability. They've thrown everything they can at the Canadiens. They've fallen short in every department, including the toughness department. But they have to finish this game strong so they'll have a little smidgen of something to build on going into their next game.
From former country of Czechoslovakia, Dominic Hasek, 5'11", 168. You see the numbers that he's picked up this season. Not played much here since Grant Fuhr has come over. Fuhr's been playing regularly. He comes into this game 5-3-1 with the Buffalo Sabres. He was 13-9-4 at Toronto. So Hasek in net. As Jim said, important now for Buffalo to regain some composure. Sutton whacked by that dump in. All right as he gets up.
I think it went off his helmet into the stand. That was going right at his head. He dropped to his knees not to block it but to get out of the way, and it grazed off of him over the glass, and he's lucky it didn't catch him right in the face.
Patrick Roy looking for the victory in net. He's 26, 16-5 on the season. And there is Roy, who had a tough start first half of this season. Very unusual, a little shaky. Gave up more goals than they are used to, but the trouble is Patrick Roy's standards are so high, he said for himself. If he's not number one in goals against and save, everyone thinks something's wrong.
Well, it was a team that had made a lot of personnel changes, including the man behind the bench. They were learning a new style, so the defensive zone coverage would be very different than the coverage he was used to. So it's understandable that as the team didn't do well, he wouldn't do as well. But right now, they are flying.
Indeed they are. Sutton takes it back in his own end. Sutton lost it. Damphus kicking it away. Penalty coming up on Bellows. Bellows leaned in on Audette. Cross-checked him from behind. And Don Koharski in this third period with a score 7-2 is not going to let very much go.
That's a good call. That's a preventative call from the Sabre point of view. He knows the Sabres are watching and they're looking for anything to ignite their team. If he doesn't call that penalty, they may use it. That's a smart call by a veteran referee who usually does call a very good hockey game.
2 for 8 on the power play officially for Buffalo. The Canadiens officially have been given 3 for 8. Although we're not sure about the number of power play chances they really had in the first period.
There's the replay, a little push. It wasn't really a vicious cross check, but I think a good call with the circumstances. The Habs ahead 7-2.
Montreal trying to continue their win streak. They've won 4 in a row, 8-1-1 in their last 10 games. And they are shorthanded here. McGillney chasing into the corner with Hill. Hill, McGillney collide. Puck comes free. Sweeney moves over to get it for Buffalo. Couldn't. Wrapped around the net by J.J. Daniel. Held in. Howardchuk shot blocked. Daniel got a piece of that. Cleared out off Bodger. Howardchuk's got to get it back on side, or his teammates have to get on side. And he actually pushed that back in before they did so until the offside is called. Just underway here in the third with Bellows out of there in the cross-checking at 1:30. Our Visa storyline. Bellows has got a chance for his first 5-goal game. He has 4. Pat LaFontaine, the game's leading scorer, adding 2 goals tonight. Dion has also picked up 2. Gilbert Dion having a strong night at Montreal. Has used the power play to the advantage, even though the Montreal Canadiens come into this game 19th on power play at home. Tonight, you would not know it. They have worked the puck extremely well.
Their entire game has been sound tonight. If you hadn't seen the Canadiens for a while and you wondered why they were in first place overall, tonight's game would answer any questions you had. They've had excellent penalty killing. They've been very strong 5-on-5 coverage defensively. Their transitional game has been extremely quick, catching the Sabres flat-footed, and they've just pursued the Sabres at every turn of the ice, won all the physical battles, won all the speed battles. and by far been the better of the two teams.
Doesn't leave much for Buffalo to claim, does it?
No, it really doesn't. It's been a dreadful game for the Sabres and a big game for the Habs.
And a chance for back-to-back wins against Buffalo by the Canadiens. McGillney trying to drop it off. Did. Knocked down by Bodger and held in on the power play. LaFontaine going for the hat trick. Daniel trying to clear it out. Bob Sweeney had it hit the pads and stays in the zone. Sweeney back to Howardchuk. Howardchuk to Bodger to Howardchuk. Dumps it off LaFontaine. Shot it wide. Patty LaFontaine, that great one-timer. Just missed going for the wide side upstairs. McGillney back to Howardchuk. Bodger. Pat LaFontaine, minute 3 in the power play. Deflected. Mike Keane blocked it in a 7-2 game. Bodger in. Shot wide by Bodger on Wah. LaFontaine ran it in. Deflected to Howardchuk. Shot off the end of the glove of Patrick Wah and in the seats. Let's check in with Jack Edwards.
All right, Gary, a great one up in Calgary. Theron Fleury kicks it along with this skate, comes around the goal, looks as if he's going to go far side. He comes back to the near side after blowing a 3-goal lead. The Flames lead 5-4 with 0.4 of a second to go. They're about to drop the puck and end it. Gary?
Calgary Flames, it's been a struggle for them this season. Unlike any other team I can think of in the league this year, Calgary has had the highest of mountains and the lowest of valleys, and there's been virtually nothing in between.
Well, a team like that, if they can hit the playoffs when they're on the climb up the mountain, they could be a dangerous hockey team. Timing is very important for the Calgary Flames.
Calgary second to Vancouver starting the day. Only 4 points out of first place, though, in the Smythe division. Howardchuk holds it in. Still a Buffalo power play. LaFontaine for the hat trick. Wah denies it. Puck free in the front of the slot. It'll be held in by LaFontaine. 30 left on the power play. Brisebois was helping out in front that time. Comes back to the middle. McGillney dumped it into the wide side corner. Back to LaFontaine. 22 on the power play. Bodger the shot. Tipped in front. LaFontaine hit the post. He had Patrick Wah down to the far side. Hit the post with a rebound chance. McGillney. 10 on the power play. Tried to center. No dice. And cleared out of the zone. Eric Desjardins, and that'll do it. So the Sabres do not convert on the power play. They are now 2 for 9 on the power play in this game. Hannon had it taken away. Dion for the trick. Saved by Dominic Hasek. And no rebound.
Well, as the play was going up the ice, Sweeney was jawing again with a half defender. And again, we have to be concerned about this game turning a little ugly. I would hate to see another brawl break out. There's Hasek. His first save, and he smothers the rebound. He's watched for 2 periods. He knows. Don't leave any loose pucks around the crease because there's going to be a white jersey right there to pounce on it and put it past you.
Gilbert Dion, 16 goals on the season, and 2 of those that he has added here tonight. Other scores, see some finals. Rangers hanging on against Edmonton in their game. Calgary's got the victory over San Jose. Boy, St. Louis needs points. Toronto, Los Angeles just getting underway at the Forum. Comes back to J.J. Daniel. Daniel shot deflected in on goal by Dion, and the save made by Hasek. Hannon goes down on the ice. Held in. Belanger. Belanger's had it blocked by Ledger. Ledger controls the puck and sends it around the boards. Even strength now. Himmelev just batted it, chases it down himself. Himmelev up the boards. He got nailed. Belanger dumped Himmelev in the corner. Schmelik. Hannon had it poke checked away by Daniel. Hannon comes back to get it. Hannon moving it into Himmelev. Himmelev pass block, trying to get back to him. Dion dumps it to center. Belanger leaves it on the point. Belanger heading to the net, can't get there. Ed Ronan just spun it back to the point. Dave Hannon brings it up for the Buffalo Sabres. Trailing here 7-2. Audette back for Hannon. Hannon tied up by Ronan from behind to the point. Shot Keith Carty saved by Patrick Wah. And Dion will just clear it out of there. This will be an icing call as Keith Carty goes back to touch it up. The Forum in Montreal, 15:20 left to go. Third period, Fuhr out after 2. Canadiens up. 17,959 packed house here at the Forum Saturday night. ESPN's National Hockey Night, and of course, Hockey Night in Canada. And this is what we were worried about. There's the potential for lots of this to go on before this game is done.
This is a rematch. A rematch from last night's game where the 2 of them squared off.
Brad May of Buffalo and Roberge of Montreal.
hurt his arm about 10 days ago. He hyperextended his elbow. In the fight last night, he re-injured it. And he's grabbing on with that left arm. This can't be good for it. I don't know why. If he was sent out by John Muckler would do it, or whether he did it on his own, he would do it. It's not productive. It's not doing anything to benefit his team to have a fight at this stage of the game and at this stage of the home-and-home series.
And again, you see another aspect of the Montreal Canadiens. They can skate, they can fly, they score, they always have the defense. They've got Patrick Roy in net, and if you want to play physical hockey against them, they've got guys like Roberge ready to go.
Oh, they sure can. And not only can they fight, these guys can skate and take the body well. Their man Roberge right in the middle of your screen. Matter the face-off. Roberge is trying to get out to the point in the last draw. May blocks him off, but May is looking to start something. He got his wish.
They've got Ed Ronan, Mario Roberge, Todd Ewan. Sean Hill, who's not that big but isn't afraid to go to the corners with people. I mean, they got plenty of physical support on this team. We got a big Shaq attack coming up here on ESPN. I think you're going to love it. It's behind the scenes with Shaq. It's coming up on Outside the Lines tomorrow at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific. Shaq's sudden impact. ESPN. Bob Lee followed him around 2 weeks at home, at practices, on the road. Great chance to look at one of the real outstanding stories in sports right now. A superstar from day one. Tomorrow night. Kirk Muller, Pat LaFontaine. Nope, Mike Keane and Pat LaFontaine. 5-4 fighting. Picked up by both Roberge and May. Sutton up to the point. McGillney couldn't get it. Bodger brings it for the Sabres to McGillney. McGillney with Himilev trailing. It's taken down. McGillney got dumped. Canadiens cleared around for Keane. Keane, Muller. Muller with Leclerc. Leclerc comes to him. Muller, the shot. Save made by Hasek. Near side McGillney. Leclerc moves in on him. Kurt Muller in the corner. Muller's picked up a goal tonight. Leclerc, Keane. Keane back for Muller. Muller. Poke checked away by McGillney from Leclerc. McGillney, who's been held down tonight as far as goals are concerned, with none. LaFontaine, the only 2 for the Buffalo Sabres, and Alexander McGillney, who's the 14th player to score 60 goals in National Hockey League history, has got 62 right now.
Well, because of injuries, he didn't make the 50 goals in 50 games, the 50-50 club, so he said, well, I'll score 60 goals in 60 games. And he's had a tremendous season for the Sabres, but he has been stopped at every turn in the ice tonight, and virtually had not only a poor game offensively, but he's floated a little bit in the defensive end of the rink.
McGillney's on a pace to go 86 or 87 goals. He has missed 7 games this season. First 99. Wayne Gretzky has the record. Goals in a season, 92. McGillney does have a shot at that. Played by nobody. Audette couldn't control it. Desjardins dropped it off. Audette picks it up. Donald Audette moving in. Desjardins fell down. Audette went back to get it. Tried to center and lost it. Todd Ewan clears it around. Keith Carney unable to hold it in. Waiting for his teammates to get on side as it poke checked away off the boards. Gary Lehman was breaking. Hasek dropped it off. Schmelik's got it. Schmelik around Damphus. Audette at his own blue line. Audette fanning on the pass. Stood up by Brian Bellows, who's after a big night here. He's had an enormous night. 4 goals in this game. Cleared the other way. Ledyard picks it up. 13:43 left to go in the 3rd period here at the Forum. He intercepted Howard Chuck. Taken down by Ronan. Rolls in on Patrick Roy. Drops it off for Brisebois behind the net. Patrice Brisebois couldn't get it out. Driven right back to him by May. In the shot right through the crease. Patrick Roy was down. The puck went through on the tip by Wayne Presley. Great chance for Presley to get the 3rd goal for Buffalo. Ledyard behind his own net. Grant Ledyard spun around near side Sutton. Belanger moves in and puts the hit on him. They separate. Howard Chuck goes wide side. Will be sent in by Ray. Cleared around by Waugh again. Dion was there to tip it to the point. Howard Chuck, Belanger moved in on him again. Howard Chuck and Belanger do battle. Howard Chuck was able to hold it in, but Brisebois was back there to pick it up. Brisebois clearing it up ice. Canadiens just don't want to turn it over now in their own end. They'll dump it up the other way. Ronan did that time. Dion, then they'll try and chase it down and get scoring chances. Dropped off to Ronan in the middle, intercepted by Presley. Presley comes to center, pushes it by Haller. Himmelov could not handle it.
Again, a 2-on-2, and the Montreal Canadiens have the third guy back. The forward throws the hit on the Sabres. They're beating them all over the ice cage.
Just playing the perfect game here tonight. Ronan gets it in, slashed from behind by Himmelov, who will chase the puck down in the corner. These two teams going to meet a couple more times before this season is over. Alexander McGillney drops it off Himmelov, but LaFontaine was in on the near side offside. 12:09 to go in the third. Let's check in with Jack.
All right, Gary, Toronto and the Kings are underway. Rob Pearson down the right wing, winds and drives. Dave McElwain's on the far side. He tips it in. Toronto's up 1-0 at that other forum. Let's go back to the original and Gary.
Generating a lot of interest in the National Hockey League, and particularly around Canada. Toronto has always been a very popular team throughout this country, and this season they have turned it around as Pat Burns has his team in third place in the Norris Division and maybe heading back to the playoffs. Behind the net, played by J.J. Daigneault. Daigneault hit by Himmelov, got it up. McGillney at center. McGillney drops it off Bodger. Bodger back over to LaFontaine. Pat LaFontaine moving it in. Turned by Daigneault. Sends it in for Himmelov. Himmelov just knocked it down in the corner. Desjardins was fighting with Himmelov for it. McGillney gets knocked down by Muller. Dirk Muller's got some of the quickest feet in the National Hockey League. Shot, save, but an offside in any event. Offside will bring the face-off outside the zone at the Forum. The Canadiens 7, Buffalo 2. DiPietro will take the face-off against Sweeney as the full house looks on here at the Forum, or he was going to. He gets chased out of there, and Dion moves in. Won by Sweeney anyway. Sutton sends it in on Patrick Roy, who knocks it away. Buffalo Sabres have been unable since the first period to get anything by Roy and the rest of this Canadiens team. As it's a 7-2 lead, all the scoring coming in the first two periods. Roy again will glove that, drop it off to the side, banged at by Hill, and it ends up going up off the dasher and into the seats. Cannon spinning around on the far side. Players themselves separating here as the heat goes down a little in this game.
Well, Jacques Demers has to be very pleased with his club's performance tonight. The only coach to win back-to-back Jack Adams trophies is the coach of the year. And Gary, he would be the leading candidate in my book for the same honor this year.
Yes, indeed.
John Muckler, I don't think they're finished dealing yet. Jerry Meehan and John Muckler have made some pretty good trades. They brought some good offensive punch to this team. They need better play in their own end of the rink in front of their goaltender, and they need the scoring spread out more. You cannot rely on two players to carry the load that LaFontaine and McGillney have carried throughout the playoffs.
It shows up when you end up playing a team with the talent of the Canadiens. Shot on score! Donald Audette picks up the third Buffalo goal to make it 7-3.
Well, I'm happy for Donald Audette. There was a lot of stuff written in the paper about young Donald Audette wanting to get out of Buffalo. You'll see him here, waste no time. He's going to take this pass, snaps a good wrister by Roy. He's just a young guy that wants to play. He led the team last year in game-winning goals with 6, and he felt he should be played some more. But someone took the story. They fabricated the fact that he had said John Muckler doesn't like French-Canadian players. It got all blown out of proportion. I was talking to him just before the game. He says, hey, all I want to do is play. I want to work hard, and I want a chance. Tonight he's getting that chance.
He apologized to his teammates and made it clear to the press before the game he did not say those things. Hawerchuk moves in. Hawerchuk centered for Keith Carney. Comes to the near side, and it'll be the Canadiens. Bellows bringing it up. Bellows intercepted. Hawerchuk had it momentarily. Lehman took it back. Lehman just drops it back. So it'll be the goal picked up third in the game for Buffalo by Donald Audette, his 7th of the year. Ledyard gets the assist at the 9-minute mark. Roy watches that one go wide. Brisebois banked it off the boards for Bellows. Bellows got it out to Lehman in the middle, knocked down by Keith Carney. Bellows comes back to get it at his own blue line. 10:08 left to go here in the third period. With the Canadiens up by a score of 7-3. And behind the net, Sutton Ken Sutton. Damphousse drives him back the other way. Sutton moving to the middle again. Sutton drops it off LaFontaine with Himmelev. LaFontaine down the middle, squeezed out of the play. He just got knocked down by Sean Hill, the rookie. Sutton lost his stick, tried to glove it ahead. McGillney moves in to help out. Kurt Muller is there. Muller knocks it away to LeClaire. John LeClaire leaves it for Muller. Muller to LeClaire. Sutton on him. Sutton ties him up, takes him to the boards. Bodger in the corner with Muller. Backed up behind the net. Hasek moved out to get it. LeClaire knew he had an empty net, but he couldn't control the puck. McGillney, he can't either. J.J. Daniels got it. Sabres changing it up on the fly here with 9:17 to go in the third. Ledger tried to steal, couldn't, from Mike Keane to LeClaire. LeClaire back to Keane. Keane, LeClaire. Bodger on him. LeClaire centered in the crease. Bob Sweeney came away with it. LeClaire drops it back in. Wrapped around hard by Ledger. Held it at the point. Brisebois. Keane drops it in the middle. Sweeney goes back to get it. And Sweeney will start from behind his own net. Buffalo's woes on the road continue. If they lose here tonight, it'll be their 17th road loss. They are averaging 2 goals a game more at home than they are on the road. Part of that, obviously, with the power play that's last on the road in the league, but that is something they have got to be very concerned with. Belanger dumped it ahead. Back for Dion. Dion looking. Dion centered. Belanger spun around in front. Couldn't get to it. And Audette will dump it out of the zone. Haller knocks it down. Sends it back in. Ledger over to get it. Grant Ledger. Hannon. Hannon dropped it off. Buffalo trying to get back in. Bobby Corkum. Corkum dropped it to Audette. Waugh came out. Audette on the boards. Hit by Desjardins. Still controlled it to Corkum. Keith Carney circling, knocked away by Hill. Hill jams it up. Buffalo's not surrendering here. Jimmy was talking about. They're trying to keep pressure on. Touched up, 7-3 for him in Montreal. 7:53 left in the third. The Canadiens up. Patrick Waugh looking on. He's 16-8-2 at home this season. 10-8-3 on the road. Waugh goes back to get it. A pretty comfortable game for him thus far, at least. It'll be held in behind the net. May bounces back out in front to the point. Sutton, far side, linesman moving in. Separate a couple of players as Ewan was over there. Ray, and they're still going at it with high sticks. Picked up by Sutton. And here we go. Todd Ewan moving over. Got the glove up on Ray. We welcome those of you watching the Rangers Edmonton. Gary Thorne, Jim Schoenfeld here. The Canadiens lead Buffalo 7-3. Ray is ready to go with Ewan. We have had 3 players lost in this game already with instigator calls and game misconducts. Donnelly and Randy Wood in the first period. Lyle Odeline in the second period for the Canadiens. And we'll have more penalties called here. Those of you watching the Ranger game with the Rangers and Edmonton looking for playoff points for the Rangers in the Patrick division. Those are the current standings. As a result of games today, Pittsburgh tied, Washington lost, Devils won, and the Islanders won. It is a real battle, and that will continue here on ESPN next Friday night, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. And Mario Lemieux may be back next week. And if so, could be in that game. We'll see Messier and the Rangers, who have just underplayed it all year long. Who would have thought the Rangers were going to be in a battle for a playoff spot going into the final 20 games of the season? Well, they are. Pittsburgh is also trying to get the #1 spot in the league. Montreal has gone ahead of them. They are the #1 team right now, the Canadiens, and they're going to add to it tonight.
Well, the Sabres back in another power play. You see Robert's got the extra 2 minutes and all that altercation, and Koharski wasted no time in getting Rob Ray and Todd Ewan right out of the game. So the 2 big heavyweights from both teams are eliminated with 7 minutes and 15 seconds remaining to play, partner.
That's how it all started over there along the boards. LaFontaine couldn't get it, cleared out. Power play underway here for the Buffalo Sabres. The Sabres 3 goals, and 2 of them have come on the power play. Pat LaFontaine had those in the first period. McGillney has been held scoreless. There's LaFontaine, the league's leading scorer, adding 2 goals tonight. Somehow LaFontaine was able to stay up. Sweeney moves over and puts the hit on. Puck comes to the middle. Now behind the play. Here we go again. Sweeney came over and tried to protect his own player that time.
Sweeney's been looking the last couple of shifts. He's had a couple of chippy shifts, given the last shove, the last push, and Desjardins wanted none of that. Maybe now he's thinking he should have just taken the shove, but you can't. Desjardins has been an absolute standout in tonight's game on the Montreal blue line. He has played a whale of a game at both ends of the ring, done an extremely good job killing penalties, especially the 5-on-3 penalty he killed. And you can see LaFontaine coming in. Desjardins gets a stick in, but LaFontaine uses a little leverage to push him off. He's a little bit stunned right there, and Sweeney gives him another shot before he can get up to his feet. Well, he's going to give Sweeney a shot back, and there they go. Push comes to shove, off come the gloves. And no one's really the worse for wear. There were no big haymakers landed. Most of the tough guys are gone from the game. Donnelly early in the game for the Sabres. Rob Ray, the shift before this, was ejected. Todd Ewan is gone for the Habs. And Roberge is sitting in the penalty box right now. So we may get some hockey played in this last 6 minutes, 45 seconds.
It's a struggle right now just to keep it under control. Those of you who are waiting on the Suzuki Cup Finals, motorcycle racing, I want to remind you that that's going to be coming along just as soon as we are done here at the Forum. The ESPN's National Hockey Night, the Suzuki Cup Finals coming up here on ESPN. Just hang in with us. Face-off will be outside the blue line here. 6:45 left to go here in the third period, and Don Koharski continues to pile up the penalties. Right now the Canadiens look as though they're going to be at a 2-man disadvantage. We have had as many 2-man advantages in this game as I've seen this season. It started out rough and tough in the first period, and it's stayed that way, and as the game got out of control score-wise, we've been right on the verge. And again, Demers elects to go with 1 defenseman and 2 forwards, Muller and Keane. However, before, the 1 defenseman he was using was Desjardins. Desjardins right now is in the box, so that duty will be picked up by J.J. Daigneault, the senior member of this Montreal defensive corps. Keane is out there, rather, with Muller. Desjardins heading to the dressing room, I do believe. We'll get this started again momentarily. Let's check in with Jack.
All right, Gary, the goals are coming quickly in L.A. Rookie defenseman Daryl Sidor with a pretty cross-ice feed to Luc Robitaille from a 1-0 deficit. The Kings score twice in 42 seconds, and now they lead in the first period. Let's go back to the Forum and Gary Thorne.
All right, the penalties were picked up at 13:15. Sweeney got a fighting. Desjardins high sticking, and 5 for fighting. So it's a 2-man advantage now for the Buffalo Sabres. Picked up by Bodger. Dropped off for LaFontaine. McGillney scores! Alexander McGillney picks up the power play goal and makes it a 7-4 game. That is a 5-on-3 power play goal. Patrick Roy shaking his head. Keane blocked the initial shot coming in. He's a little hurt. He has a difficult time skating. LaFontaine spots his partner. The deadliest duo in the league. McGillney wastes no time. A one-timer beats Roy as he's going down. And it might be a little early to say don't go away, folks, but the Sabres do have some punch in those 2 guys. They're going to get a lot of ice time in the remaining 6 minutes of this hockey game. And again, the Habs are still a man short, so we'll have to see what this Sabre power play can do. So, Patty LaFontaine continuing to set up Alexander McGillney. And for McGillney, a league-leading 43 goals. 22 of them have come on the power play. And the Sabres bench stood up, applauded, hauled it out to the guys on the ice that there's still time. 6:12 to go. Pass intended for Bodger comes to center. Problem often seen in sports. When one team gets so far ahead of the other, it's tough to maintain that drive. And the Canadiens are struggling with that here in the third period.
Yeah, we mentioned that Buffalo had to have a sound period to gain some respectability. The Canadiens have to mount up and play this period for Patrick Waugh. He kept him in the game early. They want to keep the goals against down for him, so that should be enough to inspire his teammates to play sound defensive hockey the remainder of this game.
Still a power play for Buffalo. Sutton's shot deflected wide, picked up and cleared up and over the glass by Gary Lehman. 7-4 now with 51 seconds left on the Canadiens penalty. Alexander McGillney, as we said, on top as far as the goal scorers are concerned. Those are the leaders in the National Hockey League. 63 for him now. Pavel Bure 49 and Solani and Yzerman at 47. McGillney's last goal at 13:33. The assist going to LaFontaine and Bodger. And the Buffalo Sabres, I think, are going to use their timeout right here. The Canadiens used their timeout in the first period of this game when they had a two-man disadvantage. And Buffalo's using theirs right now with 5:36 left to go.
This is a good time for Demers just to remember, coming into this period, we had a 5-goal lead. We don't want to get into the habit of missing our defensive assignments. We do not want to get into the habit where we think first effort is going to be enough. We got 7 goals, and we kept the Sabres at 2 because we had second and third effort and played well all over the ice.
I want to remind you the women's tennis coming up tomorrow will be the Matrix Everett Cup Championship. Mary Jo Fernandez, the #1 seed, against Fernanda Coetzee, the 4th seed. That will be the Grand Champions Resort, Indian Wells, California location tomorrow, 3:30 or 3 o'clock Eastern and noon Pacific. That's right here on ESPN tomorrow. Pat LaFontaine and Dion taking the face-off. Comes back to Bodger. Power play for another 46 seconds for Buffalo. If they could get one here, they are really back into this game with 5:26 left to go.
Absolutely right.
Howard-Chuck back in his own end. This is the kind of discipline we did not see from this team in the second period for the Sabres. Wow, just let it go. LaFontaine going back for it, and that's going to be touched up for icing.
What a great play by Patrick Waugh. Very subtly comes out. He fakes to the Sabres that he's going to play the puck. More importantly, he fakes to Gaharski because then he can run a little pick on Patty LaFontaine, enables his defenseman that half second to get back, touch the puck, comes all the way back into the Sabres zone, and that's where Montreal would love the face-off to be.
See Patrick Waugh's numbers as he's going for number 27 tonight. Ed Belfour on top, followed by Tom Barrasso, and then what a turnaround season. Ron Hextall, part of that big deal going to Quebec. And Waugh right now, I'm sure a little less confident about that win than he was about 2 minutes ago. Off the face-off, Canadiens, Brisebois. Brisebois hit by Himalev. Howard-Chuck knocks it down. Should mention Pat LaFontaine with his points tonight now has 114, a brand new record for the Buffalo Sabres for points in a season. Himalev going back. Himalev plays it, and there's the whistle. The faceoff is going to stay to the right of Patrick Waugh.
There's the heart and soul of the Buffalo Sabres. He's done it all for them all year. A lot of talk about McGillney, rightly so, with the goals he scores, but I do not think McGillney would have near the number of goals if it wasn't for the center, Pat LaFontaine, getting him the puck. His speed is intimidating. He backs defenders off the line. They have to double team him when he drives to the net. Alexander is open. The puck comes over there. He has an exceptional shot. And so you get the points for LaFontaine, the goals for Alexander McGillney.
Gilbert Perreault had the old record, 75-76, 113 points. So LaFontaine's going to beat that by a long distance. Off the face-off, DiPietro cleared out of the zone. Nobody touched it. Patrick Waugh has it rolled through the crease, lets it go for the touch-up, and another icing call as Kevin Haller went back to get it. Haller, former Buffalo Sabre, now with the Montreal Canadiens.
There was a lot of talk in Buffalo about that deal. Everybody thought that Svoboda would stabilize the Sabre defense, and he has come to Buffalo and done a good job. However, he is injured and out for the season. Haller coming to the Canadiens with Jacques Laperriere behind the bench as he emerged as a tremendous, tremendous hockey player. And he's going to get better every year. He's only 21 years old, folks.
Face-off will be to the left of Dominic Hasek, who came in for Grant Fuhr here in this third period. DiPietro lost that one. Sutton's got it. Sutton clears it out the center. Brought up by Dave Hannon. Hannon drops it off for Audette. Audette had it kicked away. And Dion tipped it out of the zone. Sutton sends it back in. For those of you looking for motocross, you're going to have to wait. March 13th, Saturday at 1:30. Damphus in, shot, save, Hasek, rebound, kick free to Hannon, and the net comes off the mooring, and so they'll have to finish that up. For those of you waiting for motocross, the Suzuki Cup Final will be Saturday, March 13th, 1:30 a.m. a.m.
I've been in bed an hour and a half.
Having tried to figure out what that's about, Jack, it's all yours.
All right, Gary, St. Louis chasing Minnesota for 4th place in the Norris Division, and on the power play, it's Craig Janney working it back to Nelson Emerson to Jeff Brown, down to Brendan Shanahan. 3-2 St. Louis now leads the North Stars in the final 5 minutes. Back to the Forum.
And 4:18 left to go in this one as the Montreal Canadiens just trying desperately to run this clock down and hang on to this 7-4 lead that they've got. We'll have SportsCenter coming along to update you on all the day's sports activities as soon as this one's completed.
For the viewers who joined us in the last couple of minutes, it's a shame because it was a whale of a hockey game up until this third period. The Montreal Canadiens playing almost flawless hockey tonight, completely dominating the Buffalo Sabres.
J.J. Daniel Bellows has picked up 4 goals in this game for the Montreal Canadiens. Pat LaFontaine has had a couple for the Buffalo Sabres. Howardchuk tipping it into the zone. Battle for it with LeClaire. LeClaire, Keith Carney comes out on Hasek, and he covers with Bellows looking for yet another one. 3:54 remaining in the third. Canadiens up by 3. Welcome back to the Forum. Montreal leading here at home 7-4. For those of you who were tuning in for the Suzuki Cup Final, SportsCenter is going to be next. In front, shot, jammed at. Muller scores. It counts. Kirk Muller by Dominic Hasek. Buffalo's going to argue about people in the crease and penalties in front of it, but Kirk Muller stood there, found the loose puck, and it is an 8-4 Canadiens lead.
Kaharski seems very definitely sure that the puck hit the back of the net and came out, not the crossbar. He's going over now to the timekeeper, and we'll see whether he calls upstairs for the video goal judge or if he'll just give this goal to Kirk Muller. And the faceoff's going to center ice.
No phone call made.
And Captain Kirk has himself another goal.
So Muller has picked up 2 in the game. He's now up to 32 on the season. And they have equaled their high for goals scored this season. 3rd time they've had 8.
And Kaharski made another great call. Don Kaharski not missing much in tonight's game. That puck is in and out.
And it's 8-4. Montreal cleared into the seats. Touched a stick or glass, and Hasek's not going to be called for delay a game. We're pushing it up into the seats. 3:40 remaining to go here in the third period. 16-14 the time of the goal. We told you the Buffalo Sabres, the most offensive-minded team in the National Hockey League, but look at the Montreal Canadiens. They've added to it tonight with an 8-goal game. 6th and climbing. Jacques Lemieux's team putting on a show. Brisebois sends it in. Hasek knocks it down. Sutton goes back to get it. But for Buffalo, they did come back and put together some play in this third period. McGillney knocked away from him, showing some patience here in the third and some control. Muller sending it in wide. He's got a chance at the hat trick now. Of course, LaFontaine also does. Sent up by Sutton. McGillney tipped it. Sean Hill sends it right back out. LaFontaine backed it up to the blue line. Himalev trying to move in, takes the hit check. Got knocked down by Hill. Hill is another one of the exciting young players this Canadiens team has. They are very high on the 23-year-old U.S. Olympic team, University of Wisconsin college hockey. Whereas number 38 out there played a lot tonight, is playing a lot with the injuries that the Canadiens have had, and has been solid. Ledyard all the way down on Patrick Roy, who blocks it. Ships it off into the corner. Down to 2 minutes 34 seconds remaining to go. Kevin Haller got it out of the zone. Bodger's going to have to chase it down. Hassett coming out to play it. Audette picked up a goal tonight. Off for Bodger. Bodger pushes it ahead. Hannon can't get it. Pass behind him. Flip deeper into the zone. Daniel goes back. Daniel clears it up near side. Canadiens. Robert. Ledyard looking around to see who's with him. Ledyard will take the hit, but he did see it coming as he got nailed by Jesse Belanger. Belanger has played a tough game here tonight. Hannon breaking down the middle. Decided to drop it back. Ledyard the shot. Blocker save made by Patrick Waugh. Minute 55 to go. Montreal Canadiens, an impressive performance here tonight.
Well, they aren't playing with the same intensity right now, but they are finishing all their checks. They're still bumping the Sabres off the puck. They're trying to keep in the habit of doing the little things right. That's a very important thing for a team that jumps out into a big lead the way the Canadiens did. It's easy to get yourself into bad habits for the remainder of that game. And I'm sure Jacques Demers is reminding them, play the game until the end buzzer goes. Don't take any shortcuts because you end up paying for it somewhere along the line, maybe the beginning of the next game. Finish strong and you have something to build on, and that's what the Canadiens have done tonight. The Sabres, although they did come back a little bit in the third period, I don't think they're going to feel very good about this game. It's not like they mounted a big attack. Montreal laid back a little bit, allowed them to come to them. So the Sabres have to be very disappointed in each other, disappointed in themselves. A lot of soul searching, and I think from upper management, a lot of searching for some players to fill some very big holes in the Sabre roster.
Yeah, they did. This is a disastrous night for the Buffalo Sabres.
Especially when the game was built up Buffalo eyes to be such an important game this entire series, but they lost the home game. They finished it with a great flurry of fights, showing that they're going to be a team to be reckoned with tonight. They came in here and they've been dominated from the get-go.
Yeah, absolutely. Canadiens have put a beating on them, winning last night 6-4, offside two-line pass. Canadiens are going to pick up their 40th win of the season. To go 40-19-6 here tonight, remain the best team in the National Hockey League. The Buffalo Sabres will be 31-24-7. And Montreal will continue to win at home. They're 24th against only 8 losses. And on the road, well, Buffalo's going to suffer their 17th loss, and that problem will continue for them. For Montreal, as far as their battle here in the division, they still have games remaining against the teams that are chasing them. You see Quebec, 1 away and 2 at home. Boston, they've got to play them 3 times in Boston, once here, and Buffalo still with those games remaining. So it is far from decided who's going to finish where in this division. Final minute of play. Ledyard will take it in behind the net. Ronan going back after him. Sutton trying to clear it up. Dion had moved in. Sweeney at center. Pushed it to McGillney. McGillney to Himmelev. Had it broken up by Brisebois. Brisebois. Belanger has it. Jesse Belanger circling, trying to dump it in. Ronan brought it in, and offside, stopping the clock at